5 million schools and over 260 million students across the nation, the education sector is not just evolving, it's expanding rapidly, meeting the unique challenges and aspirations of a dynamic young population. Today, we stand at a remarkable juncture. The infrastructure, technology, and quality standards in Indian education are transforming to create better learning environments, inclusive practices, and opportunities for students across different geographies. The TimesNow.in Education Survey and Conclave 2024, North Edition, acknowledges these accomplishments. Through our comprehensive survey, conducted with our esteemed partner Tenfolds, we aim to identify the top-performing schools across zones within North India. We have meticulously crafted the evaluation matrix, survey forms, and the screening process to ensure that only the most deserving institutions make it to our rankings. Through this initiative, we hope to inspire and motivate every educational institution in North India to strive for excellence, champion innovative practices, and nurture the leaders of tomorrow. Join us as we applaud the efforts of visionary educators, dedicated teachers, and resilient students. Together, we are building a legacy of excellence and empowering the next generation. This is the TimesNow.in Education Survey and Conclave 2024, North Edition, where education excellence takes center stage.
Good evening. Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Pooja Jain, and on behalf of Times Network Digital, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to all of our esteemed guests and the profound speakers to TimesNow.in Education Survey and Conclave 2024. Huge round of applause to yourselves, please. Now, we've gathered here tonight to acknowledge and to applaud the efforts of education leaders, institutions, and teachers who've gone above and beyond to demonstrate excellence in the field of education. And that includes all of you. And the TimesNow.in Education Survey and Conclave 2024 aims to recognize and to highlight leading schools. That's right. This ranking serves as an incredibly valuable resource for students, for parents, and educators by providing an impartial, unbiased assessment of the country's leading schools. And the initiative focuses on offering a clear and unbiased evaluation, as I mentioned, and on helping stakeholders make informed decisions regarding education in this region. So the initiative is aiming to celebrate and to honor the innovative contributions and the transformative endeavors within the education domain. And this conclave will also hold TED Talks, panel discussions, and industry themes such as schools of the future, transformation in education, innovative pedagogy, and cutting-edge learning approaches will all come forward tonight. The research report that I'm referencing was launched on the 9th of November, 2024. And this distinguished survey highlights the top performing schools across India, covering Delhi, NCR, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, and Haryana, to name a few. And our mission is to recognize the leading schools in each state and the top institutions within various zones. The results that are derived from an exhaustive and a meticulous survey conducted by Tenfold, a neutral and an independent surveyor, are proudly presented by Times Network Digital. And we'd also like to thank our partners in this effort. TimesNow.in Education Survey and Conclave 2024 is presented by OneXtel Communication Media, our associate sponsor, Teamology, our research partner, Tenfold, our outdoor partner, Heights, and our education partner, Bennett University. So huge round of applause for all of them, please, without which this wouldn't be possible. And on that note, I'd like to now invite on stage Mr. Vinay Saravagi, Senior Vice President, Times Network Digital, to please share his thoughts on education and the impact of educators. Huge round of applause, please. It's deeply deserved. Vinay, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. Esteemed educators, policymakers, public intellectuals, and all the participants gathered for TimesNow.in Education Summit and Awards 2024. It is my singular honor to host such a distinguished group here today. At Times Network, we are proud to be home to some of India's premier digital brands, including TimesNow.in, ETNow.in, TimesNow Now Bharat, Digit, Times Drive, Zoom, SportsNow, and much more. Each month, we engage with hundreds of millions of audiences all over the world, including our websites, apps, YouTube channels, and social media platforms. Friends, as part of media, we engage with a wide array of topics, including politics, policy, technology, business, and more. But tonight holds a special significance. Education is cornerstone of our future. And it is through education that we truly shape the next generation of leaders, thinkers, and innovators. Since India's liberalization, our focus on education, particularly in the fields like science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and management, has been one of the key drivers of our nation's progress. We stand at a pivotal moment in history. On one hand, we are witnessing rapid advancements in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotics, technologies that are redefining industries and altering the global landscape. In this age, technology and technological literacy is no longer an option. It is essential for staying competitive. And we have to think of this competitiveness not only in terms of individual, but also as nations and society. Much like literacy once upon a time posed a barrier to progress, a lack of technical skills today could hinder individuals and nations alike. On the other hand, we face rising challenges, particularly in the realm of youth mental health. The pressure of social media, the complexities of social emotional learning, and the increasing demand of today's world order has made our younger generation more emotionally vulnerable than ever. This is an issue that we as a society must address with urgency and empathy. In considering how we can better shape education in India, let me draw your attention to an example from China. While we often look up Europe and United States as educational ideas, but China presents a compelling case, especially given the similarities in terms of population scale. In the 1990s, China and India had roughly similar size of economies. Today, however, China's economy is nearly 5 times larger. A key factor behind this growth was China's shift in educational priorities back in the 60s and 70s. China prioritized STEM education to equip its workforce for the demand of an industrialized economy. India, by contrast, has retained a higher proportion of humanities subjects. The lesson here is clear. Aligning education with the economic needs of the country is crucial for national growth. Interestingly, as China's economy has matured, now they are going back to increasing the share of humanities in their overall curriculum. Back home, India's National Education Policy, or NEP, is a framework which is forward-looking in nature and lays the foundation for these reforms. The NEP focuses on rethinking the structure of schooling to align with the cognitive stages of students, promoting early childhood care and fundamental life skills. The NEP reduces curriculum overload, shifts rote learning to critical thinking, and promotes multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary learning. By expanding the gross enrollment ratio, or GER, and promoting research, autonomy, and interdisciplinary research, the NEP aims to position Indian higher education on the global stage. Throughout this evening, we will explore a range of critical issues that will shape the future of education in India. First being social and emotional learning, which is about equipping young people with that for strong, compassionate, and adaptable future citizens. Second, we will delve into how artificial intelligence will revolutionize learning, prioritizing and personalizing education, supporting teachers with real-time feedback, and create more space for creativity in the classroom. Third, the role of technology in enhancing educational outcomes. Fourth, nurturing critical thinking, innovation, and emotional intelligence, qualities that are essential for creative leaders of tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, I am excited to have all of you here tonight with us for this special occasion. A special welcome to all the award winners. Your dedication to excellence is setting example for others to follow. Let me take this opportunity to invite you all to make this evening a celebration of ideas, inspiration, and future of education. Thank you.
Vinay, thank you so much for setting the tone for the evening. And if I could now take the opportunity to invite our keynote speaker on the stage to address this very audience. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dr. Hina Shafi Bhatt, Chairperson, Jammu and Kashmir Khadi and Village Industries Board. Huge round of applause, please. Ma'am, it's a pleasure to have you. And let me mention that Dr. Hina Shafi Bhatt has broken all the barriers as the first Muslim woman to join the BJP, of course, in 2013, emerging as the party's lone representative in the valley. And she's worked extensively in rural development, spearheaded anti-drug addiction programs with Mother Helpage India, and played a crucial role in education initiatives in militancy-hit areas under Sarhad. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, I'd like to hand over the floor to Ms. Hina. Ma'am, we're truly honored. It's a complete pleasure.
Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to be the part of this lovely program. Afzal, I need my paper. I need to mention a lot of things. And thank you, all of you, the wonderful people sitting here. I think the most beautiful initiative Times Now has taken. Education, which we all know. It's because of, I think we are the privileged people here who got the opportunity that our parents could raise us as better humans and with little bit of education, as in degrees. That's why we are all here discussing further future path for our children, for our country. It's been a few years working with Khadi Village Industry Board, where I have learned, where I've picked how difficult it was for a lot of people without little bit of education, access for the simple, normal survival of their lives. But working deeply and to the roots, I've seen the difference, how education has made even a very little education. I'm not talking about huge degrees, big degrees. Very small education. It has helped them to survive better, to live with pride, Today's education system and the school of thought, I think most of us are from, the times have changed. We really need to think out of the box for the better India. The Future School, I commend Times Network for creating such a session with all the lovely dignitaries here who have gathered together to bring and to take our education system forward so that we have better India. But along with education, schooling, we need to give our kids strength to be a better human with better morals. It's easy to talk about education policy. It's easy to talk about a place where India has come a long way. But, ladies and gentlemen, we still have a long way to go. Coming from the paradise of India, I always say, India is the integral part of Kashmir. Kashmir is not the integral part of India. I say India is the integral part of Kashmir. I've seen how education system was disturbed. 3-year degree took 10 years. As a Kashmiri, I have seen the suffering of our children at the education level, which is very important and the most important step for our upbringing. Today, I'm quite privileged, I'm honored to speak about things we need to take forward. I think majorly how present regime has taken Jammu and Kashmir forward with a lot of efforts. It's not education policy. I remember our PM talking about that every madrasa will have Quran in one hand and computer in another hand. That was for the madrasas, where we have seen the minorities below literacy rate. But India has, as I said, has come a long way. We're looking forward for better India so that our children grow more stronger mentally, emotionally. As we can see everywhere, a lot of intolerance towards so many things. But we need to come together, and such seminars, such conclaves. And I believe charity begins from home. And charity is we the parents. How we teach our children to be mentally strong, emotionally strong, and morally very high. Then only we can push them towards the most fastest race of the present world. I would like to begin with profound words of Swami Vivekananda. We want that education by which character is formed, strength of mind is increased, the intellect is expanded, and by which one can stand on one's own feet. This quote overscores the vision for education as the transformative force that shapes character, builds resilience, enhances intellect, and promotes self-sufficiency. In a sense, a holistic education system should cultivate integrity, mental strength, intellectual growth, and independence, equipping students to face both personal and professional challenges with confidence. Indeed, education shapes not only individual future, but also the destiny of entire communities and nations. But today, more than ever, we must embrace a broader, more holistic approach to education, one that places skill building at the forefront. I think skill education is not just a means of livelihood. It is a tool for empowerment, self-reliance, social progress in our rapidly evolving world where industries and technologies advance at a strategic pace. Traditional education alone is no longer sufficient. As we aim to equip our youth to face modern challenges, we must focus on practical skills. And I've seen it, I think, in 7 years of my work with Khadi Village Industry Board. Those are that adaptable, entrepreneurial, and transformative changes we can give. In Jammu and Kashmir, where I had the honor of working closely with Khadi Village Industry sector, skill education has played tremendously instrumental role in empowering our youth and enabling them to become entrepreneurs. Through initiatives like, we have a lot of schemes from the Government of India where we are working on Prime Minister Employment Generation Program and Sufurti and many more. I think I've seen a lot of more young women coming forward and once dependent on uncertain opportunities are now skilled artisans, business owners, and contributors to their local economies. Skill education, I strongly believe, we all believe this, has given all of us a purpose of livelihood and most importantly, a sense of pride and self-worth. And same goes to my artisans back home. Through programs that foster skill development, entrepreneurship, and outreach, we are opening doors for our youth to engage, contribute, and thrive in society. Empowering individuals with knowledge and practical skills not only uplift communities, but also fuels economic resilience and self-reliance. It's said, and I strongly believe, that give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach man a fish and you feed him for a lifetime. I think skill development, skill education embodies this timeless wisdom. When we equip individuals with skill, we're not merely providing them with the means to earn a living. We are fostering resilience, independence, and the ability to adapt of changing for circumstances. Qualities that are essential for sustainable upliftment. Moreover, I am focusing more on skill education. It's inclusive because it's transformative. It empowers individuals from all walks of life, regardless of their background, to participate in society as self-reliant, productive citizen. This inclusivity fosters more equitable society where everyone has the chance to succeed, to contribute, and to feel valued, which is more important as a human, to be felt, feel valued. The impact of this is not just economic, it's also social, and the most important what is for our country is cultural. Our journey in education, particularly in skill development, is far from over. As we look to the future, we must constantly adapt and innovate. We must embrace digital literacy, encourage entrepreneurship, nurture creativity in our young minds. We must prepare young minds. I would focus more, especially on the women, on the girl child. We must prepare them not only for today's world, but for the world that lies beyond the stars, full of new possibilities, challenges, and opportunities. Today's students require for more than traditional qualification. They need skills that prepare them for the dynamic future, enabling them to solve complex problems, collaborate effectively, and adapt seamlessly to evolving industries. The demand of 21st century requires us to nurture a new kind of learner, one who's not only knowledgeable, but also resilient, compassionate, and creatively driven. Our schools must strive to blend timeless values with modern competence, crafting environment that empowers students to engage with the world and uncover the unique potential. In Jammu and Kashmir, we are acutely aware of the vital role of education, which is playing very important, pivotal role for empowering communities and driving economic progress. Through collaborations with educators, government bodies, and organizations, we are committed to creating an environment where every young mind can flourish. I firmly believe that when education is paired with vocational training and skill development, it has the power to unlock vast potential in our youth, guiding them toward sustainable livelihood and fulfilling lives. Let me quote Lala Lajpat Rai, who says that milk for the infant, food for the adult, and education for all. That itself is saying that milk for infants symbolizes nurturing the youngest, ensuring they grow strong. Food for adult supports productivity and well-being. Education for all, however, is the foundation of the true progress. It empowers individuals, fosters self-reliance, and drives social growth. Lala Lajpat Rai's vision reminds us that a strong nation is built on the pillars of health, sustenance, and universal access to knowledge. To all those gathered here today, I commend your unwavering dedication to the cause of education. Your efforts will shape the future of society, building a foundation upon which learning is cherished. Innovation is fostered and potential knows no limits. It is through these collective efforts of all the beautiful people sitting here that we realize a future where education is not just an aspiration, but it is the fundamental right of all of us. In conclusion, let us continue to push the boundaries of what is possible in education. Let us embrace transformation, inspire excellence, and work together to create schools that transcend more learning institutions, becoming spaces that spark true transformation. My heartfelt thanks once again to the Times Network for hosting this extraordinary platform, and to each of you for your tireless commitment to advancing education. Together, let us forge a path towards a brighter, more empowered tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Hina ma'am, I ask that you remain on stage for just a few moments longer. What inspiring words, ladies and gentlemen. What incredibly heartfelt, inspiring words. Another round of applause, please. I think it's deeply deserved. And we'd like to present to you a special token of our appreciation, ma'am. And to do the same, if I could please call back on stage Mr. Vinay Saravagi to do the honors. Thank you, Vinay. It's a special moment, and we are truly honored to have you here. So we want to take that moment and lock it into time. Wonderful. Thank you, Vinay, and thank you, Hina. Now today, as we navigate an era of incredible change, it's essential to recognize that academic success alone is simply not enough. Social and emotional learning equips our young minds with that resilience, empathy, and a sense of responsibility, values that will shape a compassionate and capable India of tomorrow. And to discuss this further, and to discuss how integrating social and emotional learning can build resilient, compassionate, and capable young leaders, I'd like to call upon stage our esteemed experts. First off, if I could please request Priya Parikh, Associate Editor of Times Now Rodin, to join us on stage to spearhead this discussion, ma'am. Thank you so much. A huge round of applause for our moderator. And joining her are esteemed domain experts who include Mr. Ram Prakash, Head of Learning at Stay Curious Neo School. Sir, if you could kindly do us the honors and join us on stage. Thank you. Joining him, Mr. Raj Singhal, CEO and founder at Footprints Childcare. It's an honor to have you. Thank you, sir. Also, Ms. Anuja Bashir, founder of FlexiCloud Interna Private Limited. Thank you, ma'am. And Vimi Vansal, founder and director of the Indian Institute of Fashion and Design. Well, there we have it, our power-packed panel. Ladies and gentlemen, it promises to be a riveting discussion. And we're just getting set up. It'll take just a moment, and then we'll dive right in. Yes. It's always a fascinating back and forth when you have industry stalwarts all together on a single platform, sharing the room, sharing the space. All right. And it seems we are more or less almost good to go. We apologize for the slight delay here, but I ask that our panelists quickly take their seats, grab the mics, and share their thoughts with us. That's what we're all waiting for. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to our moderator. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for bearing with us, and the floor is now yours.
A very good evening to all of you, and I am thrilled to welcome you all to what promises to be an inciting and insightful discussion into one of the hottest topics in education right now, which is the role of social and emotional learning into shaping the future generation. So tonight we'll go beyond the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s to explore what really adds value to young lives, which is building empathy, resilience, and emotional intelligence. So why social and emotional learning, and why now? Because today, it's about more than just academic success. It's about building individuals who know themselves, care for others, and contribute positively to the society. So today, we'll discuss how we can bring social and emotional learning to schools, classrooms, homes, and communities to make that happen. So let's start with the discussion. And I would like to start with Mr. Anand Srinivasan. Given that... Yes, so given that Stay Curious New School is known for its innovative learning methods, first I would like to know from you, how do you think social and emotional learning is essential, and how do you see that its implementation can be a challenge given the technology-driven education model?
Cool. I mean, by the way, that's a very long answer. But yeah, how is it important for the students, right? So if I have some time, I'll probably highlight the point of like, hey, you know what? A couple of decades back, the main problem that when we were kids, we were facing was that, hey, quality education, quality explanation of content wasn't available to us. Like, for example, I was struggling with, hey, I'm not able to understand this math concept. Can somebody help me with that? And I wasn't able to find good resources available. But today in this age, if you see, those problems have been kind of sorted. We have Khan Academy, where I worked before, and like amazing resources available. We have internet. We have many YouTubers online actually providing content available to us. We have AI coming into picture, which is like, hey, if you want any explanation, it will be patiently able to explain you things, which, it's really hard for us teachers to actually be that patient with students at times, right? So the problem of quality content is kind of like sorted, at least. But the main challenge that is still there is like, why do I want to learn this? If you ask a child today, hey, this is a math concept that you want to learn, and the child is like, hey, but why should I be learning this? My friends are playing video games outside. Can I go and play with them? The distraction, the impulse control, those kind of become like a really bigger challenge for them. Along with it, social emotional problems, like, I feel shy. I'm not able to talk to other people, other peers of mine, or I'm being bullied. I don't know how to actually tackle that. And these are the issues that are actually kind of hindering their learning while they are progressing, right? And these become like a really big issue in their life. And that's why social emotional learning kind of becomes like a bigger challenge for them to, hey, if you tackle that foundation, you will be able to get higher achievement from the students. In my opinion, it's like, you want to create individuals who are like well-rounded in the future. That's the main problem statement that all of us are trying to solve for the students, right? Now, one of the problems was that, hey, get quality content out for them and hope that everybody will be able to understand using that quality content. But that problem has been sorted, and still we are not able to reach that outcome of well-rounded individuals. And the reason being that, hey, because the main problem that this problem states is deeply rooted in social emotional learning. If you look at, hey, today kids are addicted to many of the things like video gaming, be it addictions of social media, right? And these, if you look at, it's actually stemming from anxiety, social emotional issues. If you talk about shyness, about bullying, all of these are social emotional issues. If you talk about, hey, how can I actually mingle well with other kids of my own and actually believe in myself that I can learn things? Many of the kids today don't even believe that I can actually do well. I can actually conquer whatever I want to. All of these are deeply rooted social emotional issues. That's a pain point, the main issue that we have figured out. And my belief today is that if you're able to solve that pain point, you will be able to solve all the problems that build on top of this. So that's why my answer would be that, hey, social emotional learning is the most important part.
Yeah, so this brings me to my next question to Mr. Raj Singh. You work very closely with kids in the formative years. And why do you think social and emotional learning is essential in childhood education? And how can it help in long-term development?
Sure, excellent question. So we normally think in early years, at least in India, A, B, C, D, or making children learn 1, 2, 3 is far more important. But if you look at the research, it says 90% brain development happens by the age of 5. So whatever habits you form, whatever skills you develop in those early years, those go long way in defining who you will be. And eventually, if you look at in the adult life of a human, especially in today's era, I'm an engineer by degree, but I hardly ever use my analytical skills that much or my math and physics skill that much. What I really use is actually how do I communicate with my team members, how do I get the work done. So these social emotional skills are far more important in today's era when you have a team in multi-location, etc. So starting those skill development right at the early age becomes extremely important.
Right.
So,
So this brings me to you, Ms. Anuja Bashir, who has an impressive expertise in digital solutions. So there is one challenge in implementing social and emotional learning, and that is that, today there is this early exposure of technology to kids. So even a 2-year-old is scrolling through phone. Some kids would just refuse to eat until you play something on YouTube. And also there is this early introduction of technology. Like decades ago, it used to be so that only the heads of the family would have phone. Then, okay, parents would say 10 years ago that, okay, you clear 12th and then you get a phone. And then you clear 10th and you get a phone. But today, it's like even a toddler has a personal tab. So what happens is that it does impact our attention span and social skills. So one, why do you think it is essential, especially in this digital age? And how do you see this technology being a challenge in terms of implementing social and emotional learning?
Okay. So as we all have heard about the tagline, technology is a boon or a bane. So let me start with a basic fundamental thing where we have been hearing from our generations. So as generations have evolved, today is a Gen Z world. So I have my 2 Gen Zs out there, two of my kids out there, Rahil and Afrin. So I know how Gen Z is their response to things at this age. What was I doing at this age, and how would I respond? So the simple answer is that the access to technology, the very information that they can get at the tip of their hand through their cell phones and any gadgets they use. So today, getting knowledge is not something that is a constraint or something that is hindering them to collect information. But what are they going to how are they going to leverage that information that matters? And most of you might have seen these ad where, social media, there was, at a point, that was a troll kind of thing, where at a point of time, people used to sit and discuss things. And the next post would be everybody, the mother, the father, even the grandmother and the grandfather is sitting in the phone, and everybody is WhatsApping. So this is something, even I saw an ad today, which is of Samsung Inox or something, where everybody was celebrating Diwali, but few years back, they were celebrating it different, and now everybody is on the gadget again. So this is all happening because we're all busy with our life. Technology has evolved in a level where we're kind of obsessed with it. Like, the way the Ram said, it's a pattern. Because we're obsessed with pattern, in our daily life, we are so kind of clinched to our phones, to our gadgets. We are the ones who are giving this kind of, we are being the model to our own children. So sometimes we have to understand that what we are doing, our children are just imitating the same thing. So unfortunately, because we can't get out of this, that is another. But something what we can do is that we can imbibe values to it. Specifically speaking about, building empathy towards other fellow humans, which is very much required at this era. Say, similarly, what I've seen in the young generation is that their resilience is very, very little, because they don't know how to embrace failures. I'm a twice a failure startup. From there, I've created the entire empire what I have today. So failure is a stepping stone, as it really means, because failure teaches you everything. But today's generation is so much kind of confused with that, because they don't have a clarity of the peer pressure around them is kind of like, oh, if I fail, that means I don't have an existence anymore. It is affecting my individuality, my personality. So these are the areas where we need to kind of teach students, or even our own children, in both ways, personally and professionally, that you need to learn values, you need to build resilience, because this is what next generation needs. Because we don't need leaders anymore, we need change makers.
Right, absolutely. And Ms. Vimi Vansal, as Managing Director of the Indian Institute of Fashion and Design, you are the one who is guiding young creators. Now my question to you is, how do you think social and emotional learning can help students in creative fields? And also, what role does sustainable fashion play in shaping students' values and emotional connection?
Hi, good evening. First of all, I say thanks to Times Now, who invited me to discuss this very progressive topic. So when the students are coming to after the school, so they have become teenagers. So through the designing, we are trying to find what is the problem they are facing. See, one is very interesting subject we created in the college that is called color psychology. So with the colors, we get to know what kind of the mindset they have, what kind of the mood they have, what they want to do. They're destructive, they are emotional. So we are trying to try to understand their mood, their problems. So we created one department also where our teachers, they are sitting one-to-one with them. If, for example, my students, they are working with the blue colors, means they're very cool and calm. If they're working with, red and orange colors, they're very aggressive. So we are trying to tell them how to make a discipline as well as how to maintain balance in their emotions as well as the creative working. So students जब हमारे पास जहाँ तक आते हैं उस टाइम तक students का एक ऐसा एज ग्रुप शुरू हो जाता है वहाँ पे बिकॉज स्कूल से जब वो निकल के आता है स्टूडेंट तो उसका चाइल्ड बेस एक सेट हो चुका होता है उस बेस के उस पे देन वी स्टार्ट टेकिंग स्टूडेंट्स को कि उसको किस तरीके से वी हैव टू मोल्ड उसको क्या समझाना है क्या नहीं समझाना सो फॉर दैट इवन वी मेक अ ब्रिज विद द पेरेंट्स as well as the teachers. So we are sending the reports to the parents. We are inviting the parents so they will come and they'll see what kind of work the students are doing. So if the students, for example, if student is coming and the teacher will say, very good morning, the student will be very happy. They answer very happily, very good morning. So then you understand the mindset when in the morning the student is coming for the class. So through designing, we are creating group discussions. We are giving the project in the group. We are not sending the students individuals because if you send the students in a group, they will learn how to help each other. The self-confidence, they can develop the PR because after in the future, they have to take a work from the market. They have to meet with the people. Through 3-4 people, they will learn the communication. They balance the emotions. The confidence level become up when we are doing these activities with the students. So through designing, we are trying a lot how the student maintain the balance with the designing, with the creative work. Because creativity, end of the day, when they are doing something, so when they're creating something, so we understand. For example, the students are designing very abstract designing. So if I say design this, so every time students start developing the abstract prints. Why he is doing always the abstract prints working? Why he is not working with the florals? So then we used to give a time to the student. We understand what is the problem they are facing, what is the problem is going on at their place. So we try to communicate with their parents also. What is the problem behind this? We are trying our level best. How we can students give a strength emotionally and socially.
But I would, we have spoken a lot about the importance and significance of social and emotional learning. But let's also discuss a little bit about, I would like to know it from you, Ram, if there actually any way we can measure the impact of social and emotional learning. How do we exactly know whether what we are doing is actually benefiting the kids or not? Because when it comes to academics, let's say maths or any other subject for that matter, we can actually see, okay, fine, this is where this kid needs improvement. But when it comes to social and emotional learning, how do we measure that?
Oh yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of research already done on this topic, right?
Yes.
So one of the data points, and I'm just gonna put some data points out there, is like, see, social emotional learning is not just that, hey, it's gonna help you be a different individual which cannot be measured, but it is indirectly going to affect even in your academic process, right? Data has shown that, hey, there is 11 percentile growth in academic progress for kids who have been trained on social emotional learning. Because of the fact that social emotional learning also encompasses that, like, hey, how do you build good habits? How do you manage emotions? How do you manage your anxiety levels when you are like dealing with tough math concepts, things like that, right? And that helps you actually learn things better. Another aspect is that, David H. Burns, who is a cognitive behavior psychologist, he has written a book on feeling good called. And he talks about that, hey, in his studies, what he found out that people who just read his books, they were at par with people who were, clinically depressed and were recommended medicines, right? And that's a really big evidence that, just by being aware of cognitive behavior psychology, you're able to kind of fight and not be reliant on medicines actually to deal with depression. And imagine what good we can do just by teaching our kids about these things early on. We will be able to prevent these issues from happening in the future, right? So these are just a few aspects that you can actually see happening in the future. And if you want anecdotal evidence, I can tell you from my own school experiences. Just 1 quarter in, 3 months in, one of our students was like, after learning how to create habits, how to build actually better habits, he was able to kind of like said that, hey, I want to run 10 kilometers, marathon. And after like a month or so, he was able to achieve the goal of 5 kilometers running. After another month or so, he was able to achieve like 10 kilometers running. Of course, there was a lot of help that went in the back end. Hey, how to stick to your habits, how to not give in to anxiety, how to not give in to you get distracted quite a lot. But how to actually be resilient through all of this and stick to it, right? And there are like many stories coming from our school actually where people are able to implement these social emotional learning skills and actually improve.
Right.
So yes.
Right. So, Ms. Anuja, I would like to know from you, talking about anxiety. Now, one problem is that there's a lot of negativity that's coming the kids' way today because of the early exposure to social media. Now, there's a lot of hate, there's a lot of negativity, there's a lot of trolling. And the peer pressure that you were just talking about is not just coming from the kids in the school, but also from the kids who are living maybe in a different country or continent. So what happens is that a lot of things which perhaps were unacceptable or maybe we used to warn our kids against earlier have now become common and cool, like abusing, trolling, all of that, right? So how do you think we can balance social and emotional learning? Because you definitely cannot take that phone away from the kids.
Absolutely, you can't take away, that's what I said. Technology should be leveraged in the most positive manner. It has to be. But what we can do is that it's all about creating awareness, making kids also understand, try to talk with them. The biggest part is that, we have reached a world where we are, we are reluctant to talk to each other. Sometimes we are so involved in our own problems. When you are in a problem, you never can find a solution. But a person who's not in that turbulence might see a third angle to it, not emotionally, but more logically. So to create a mental stability, or rather I would call it something called a mental wellness, these are very important not only for the children, but for also for the adults. Because if you see these children who are graduating from their 10th and 12th and all, once they get into the college, there's so much, because I take classes for IIMs and IITs. So I've seen IIM students, most of them would be in loans, or the peer pressure is like that they are in IIM, so they need to get in the corporates. So every time the problem is, they are in such a situation that more than what they want to achieve, it's like a rat race. It's like a competitive rat race where everybody is in that marathon. Okay, who's going to get first? So what is happening to their mental wellness? So this is something which only I think schools, because if you're making that awareness right from the school, by the time they reach the college, they have an understanding, okay, this is how it is. And they also realize that emotionally hurting a person is not something that they need to be proud of. Because by doing that, they are bringing their own dark sides. So the only thing what we can try to do is that even through social media, we can create, schools can give awareness, parents can talk about this, educators can talk about it, media can talk about that. And if we create such a culture, the mental stability of these, not only the kids, the adults, whoever it is, we will be able to nurture a beautiful society as such. And we, to an extent, we'll be really successful in shaping the future generation.
I would like to listen from you, Ms. Vimi Bansal, because this is one of the problems that also students in the creative fields also face a lot. So how do you think students can use fashion as a tool for developing self-confidence and managing anxiety?
See, through design, when the students are doing designing, so then mindset is totally different. That time when suppose we are giving a theme, you are work on it, so then they are on a different zone. When student is wearing something, they are choosing something, they become very confident. So when they are going somewhere, they have to choose a different kind of a clothes. For example, they are going for the party, they are going for get together, they are going with the parents. So we are trying to teach them how to choose the design, how to choose the fabric, what kind of a fabric you require. So that time the student mindset is totally different. So that time, day by day, they become more confident. So major role is, I would say, we have to play the how to student make a confident, because emotionally, if they are breakdown, sometimes students are coming from the very different backgrounds, from different cities, so the confidence level is so low. So they are, when they are coming down to Chandigarh, they are coming in the cosmopolitan cities, so that time they are feeling, so they are feeling anxiety, sometimes they're feeling the anxiety, some they're low in the confidence level. So that time our moral duty, how to develop the confidence level, how to build the confidence level, how to give a help in the emotionally. Sometimes, again I am repeating, sometimes I'm meeting with the personally with the parents also. What is the problem? For one thing, like ma'am is from different line is digitally. So in my college, we made one rule. The student is not taking mobiles in the classrooms. Our class timing is 10 to 5. The student has to keep the mobiles aside. They have to submit. Because that time I don't want my student should be again 24 hours on the mobiles only. Because whatever they are looking, the mind is your scanner. Whatever they are looking, they start doing the same. So their creativity somewhere we found is killed somewhere. So that is the reason we have to adopt these small activities we should do. We should make some rules and regulations. We should make some discipline. At least then students can be more and more confident. Only through designing, we are trying to give them the group discussions. We are giving the project on the product designs. We are giving the project for the designing only. So when they're choosing the clothes, they are very confident. They are choosing different colors. They come in a different mood. So how we are trying to help in the design.
Right. I have just one last very, very important question to Mr. Raj Singhal. In case of rural areas or villages, kids are still being raised in joint families where there are a lot of people of different age groups and of mindsets and moods who are actually contributing to their upbringing, right? But when it comes to metro cities and urban settings, what really happens is that, let's say it's a single child, both the parents are working, and even if you ensure social and emotional learning activities in the school, when this child comes back home, all he has to interact with is a nanny, if there is one, or 2-3 kids in the neighborhood, if that kind of interaction is happening, which has also come down significantly. And then again, the kid goes back to the gadgets, right? So how and to what extent do you think schools can bridge this gap?
Sure. So I'll talk in general how we can bridge that gap, and I think schools can play that some role, but I think parents have to play a larger role. So one thing, I think as parents, we have a habit of preaching to our children a lot. In reality, all of us as a children did what our parents did, not what our parents told us. So it's important for us to do what we preach so that children also do the same thing. So I think that's something that as a parent we can certainly bring on the table. Second, I think there could be a lot more communication. Typically, when a child comes back home, mother would ask, how was your day today? They would never, as a parent, I would never tell my children that this is how my day went, this is my challenges. Parents think it's some greatness not to talk about the challenges they are facing. If you don't open up, your children will never open up. So if you want your children to actually develop those skills, those emotional skills and social skills, you need to open up with your children so that they can open up with you. So I think that's what parents can do, and school can give some sort of a homework, some sort of assignments through which that collaboration can happen.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this session on social and emotional learning, one thing that we have learned is that it's not just an add-on. It's actually the secret sauce which can help students excel in not only schools, but also in other areas of their lives. A huge thank you to our incredible panelists for all the stories, insights, and strategies on this topic, and to all of you for being such a patient audience. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
Thank you for spearheading the discussion panel. If I could please now invite once back more on stage Vinay Saravagi to present all of our panelists with the token of our appreciation as our way of saying thank you for being here and thank you for raising the caliber of this event. And they've shared such a rich range of insights from their personal as well as their professional journeys alike to offer a 360-degree perspective on the topic, social and emotional learning, and the role it plays in future development. A small token of our appreciation from Times Network Digital. Lovely. Thank you once again to all of our panelists for sharing those critical, much-needed takeaways. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, events like this don't come together without your support and your contributions. And with that, in today's rapidly evolving landscape, technology has, of course, transformed classrooms, enabling access, engagement, and personalized learning like never before. From interactive digital tools to data-driven insights, innovation is reshaping how we teach and how students learn. But as we embrace these advancements, we must also address the challenges of accessibility, inclusivity, and effectiveness. So if I could now take the opportunity to invite our guest of honor, Shri Avnish Kumar Avasthi, IAS, Chief Advisor to the Chief Minister, Government of Uttar Pradesh, for a fireside chat with Vinay Saravagi, Senior Vice President, Times Network Digital. Keep the applause coming. In the career that spanned over 35 years, Mr. Avasthi, an IAS officer of the 1987 batch, has worked at the Uttar Pradesh government in multiple roles, including being the district magistrate of Lalitpur, Badaun, Azamgarh, Varanasi, Faizabad, Meerut, and Gorakhpur. And he's held the position of Chairman and Managing Director of Uttar Pradesh Power Corporation Limited from September 2005 to January 2009. He retired as Additional Chief Secretary in the government of Uttar Pradesh, in charge of several portfolios, such as Home and Confidential, Religious Affairs, and Information. With that, gentlemen, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vinayji, for calling me here. This is a Times Now Summit on Education, so I can give one more credit to myself. I've been the Higher Education Secretary for the state for 2.5 years. So I am very well into the aspect and the sector of education. I'm looking forward to your questions, and I'll be very bebak in what I answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That's in the spirit of the kind of reforms Uttar Pradesh is seeing. So to begin with, on a lighter note, when we just met outside, I asked you that how have you come, and you said I just landed in Delhi. So for the next summit, will you be landing in Noida Airport?
Yeah. Yes, very much. So we have been part of the journey of Yogi Ji from 2017. He is the longest serving Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, of independent Uttar Pradesh, which means of independent India. And he has now served for more than 7.5 years. So no Chief Minister has repeated his term in Uttar Pradesh, and It is he who has brought about this entire change in the state. As we were discussing just now, UP is no more a Bimaru state. UP is, of course, with unlimited potential. We have 25 crore citizens in our state, and we have the youngest population in our state.
Yes.
And education, obviously, is the most critical aspect of the state, and how do we take the state forward. You all know that the Honorable Prime Minister set a target for the $5 trillion economy for the country. We are probably already 4th largest economy of the world, and I suppose that by 2027, we will be the 3rd largest economy of the world. If India can move forward with 5 trillion, we in Uttar Pradesh need to move it forward, and it is here that Yogi ji in around 2018-19 started this aspect of a $1 trillion economy. And I can tell you, if you want to get a $1 trillion economy from 250 billion, which is 4 times of the size we have right now, and we have already achieved the first year's target, there are 2 aspects which are very important for the state and for the population of our state, and particularly for the youth of the state. There is a very famous economist who came to us in Uttar Pradesh, and he was discussing with the Chief Minister and us, all of us. There are 2 aspects which the state has to ensure. One is quality education, and 2 is skilling. If a country moves forward with its quality education, and if a country moves forward with skilling, it will achieve the economic targets set for it, else the targets will never get achieved. We in India have not adopted a mechanism for getting quality education. We are shying away from getting ourselves tested in our schools, particularly government schools, on what quality of education we provide. And I can tell you 3 or 4 examples from my own professional career. I have adopted a school in a village in Lucknow. Our Chief Minister about 3 years ago said, why don't officers go to the primary schools and adopt a school? And I've taken it on myself to take forward the one primary school I've adopted. The very first day when I went there, in class 1, class 2, class 3, and class 4 and 5, it's a primary school. Out of the 27 or 28 class 5 students, 5 of the students were those where the teacher said, tum batao, pahada batao, tum batao, kaise Hindi mein bola jata hai, tum batao. Un 5 students ke alawa, when I inquired with the other 10 or 15 of them, they were somewhat on the edge. But 5 of the students, 7 of the students were absolutely zero. They were not even at the level of class 3. Now, this is the problem with our primary schools in our state, and this is where we need to take it forward. When we have a primary school in a village, we also have 4 nursery schools, which are somewhat on the edge. These nursery schools have private teachers who are not getting more than 5,000 rupees a month, maybe not even 3,000 rupees a month. They are performing better. While our primary schools, where we have teachers who have been given, who are getting salaries something like 25 to 30 or 40,000 rupees, we are not getting the quality that is possible. And this is the challenge for us. जब हम अपने बेसिक प्राइमरी लेवल पर अपने 30-35 लाख बच्चों को आगे नहीं बढ़ा पाएंगे, तो हम कैसे आगे बढ़ाएंगे इसको? This is where Yogi ji has taken it upon himself. We have to have good schools in the government sector. He started with getting model schools made at every divisional headquarters, what are called the Atal model schools. This school is has hostels, this school has a library, this school has a conference hall. Why can't children from very poor background be taken up based on merit into these schools? So 18 schools have been put in place. Now every district will have a model school where we will have the best of education at these model schools. Then further, every tehsil and block will have a model school. And slowly and gradually we will come to the Naya Panchayat where we will have a model school. Why can't children travel, say about 5 to 10 kilometers to go to a good school? If children of Noida can go to schools in Delhi If children from Delhi can go to schools in Noida for 20 kilometers, my child used to travel to DPS RK Puram from Noida. So why can't children from villages travel 5 to 7 kilometers and go to a better school? So this is the challenge before us. This is what we need to do. Quality education in primary school. So this is what I would say. I don't know what is the background of our audience here today. How many of you are educationists? Can you raise your hand? Very good. And how many of you are students? Students. Acha, very good. So lots of educationists. How many of you would be researchers in the area of education? This is the challenge before us.
Yes.
We made a grand mistake, and I can see this. I have been a collector all over the place, and we saw the right to education come in place. बिना कुछ पढ़े आप अगर क्लास 1 से क्लास 2 में चले जाएंगे, बिना कुछ पढ़े आप क्लास 2 से क्लास 3 में चले जाएंगे, बिना कुछ पढ़े क्लास 5 से क्लास 6 में चढ़े जाएंगे और फेल नहीं होंगे, वो बच्चा कभी आगे नहीं बढ़ने वाला. And this right to education that we adopted in our country has created issues. I can challenge. I am a grandfather now with 2 young grandchildren who are now going to a play school. I can challenge anyone in this audience who have children, younger children or grandchildren. Every one of you would have your child in one of the best of schools. Every child is being given a monthly test. Every child is being given a test every semester. Every child has to get a particular level to go to the next class. Why did we adopt this mechanism of not having exams, not holding back children at every level? And why would we not have quality? I can't understand how could people in our country adopt a mechanism like this. And this is where the challenge lies. We, of course, with the new education policy, have gone in the right direction. All the new areas have come into place. Skilling is becoming important. Why can't we use our schools, the infrastructure of our schools in the evening classes for skilling? So all of these new ideas have come about, but the new education policy has to go whole hog within our systems. A lot of effort needs to be made. A lot of reorientation has to be done. The effort is there. If we want to have a Viksit Bharat, we have to have quality education and quality skilling. And this is what the challenge before us is. Yes.
Sir, you work closest with the Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, being his chief advisor. If we were to ask you, what is Yogi's economic vision in 3 or 4 words? And similarly, what is this Yogi model of education that people keep talking about these days?
I have been the Home Secretary of the state for the longest period possible. So the first chapter of Yogi's model is the rule of law. Zero tolerance to crime and criminality. World over, not just India, world over. You see gun violence in the United States. You see all of wars all over the world taking place. I mean, can you imagine how a child in Gaza would be studying now?
Yes.
So all of this is happening all over the world, world over. Unless society has the rule of law and there is zero tolerance to crime and criminality, no economic development can take place.
Yes.
No businessman would invest in a state where the rule of law doesn't exist or the rule of law is on the edge. So this is what he started with, the rule of law. And this is where in Uttar Pradesh we now have the lowest, one of the lowest crime figures per lakh population in any area of crime that you can think of. So this is what was the background for starting development. 1. 2, attracting investment required policies to be properly made. We now have 25 sectoral policies in the state which have the best of provisions if you see the other policies of other states. And since we are today here at the Education Summit, I can tell you, he gave this idea of 1 medical college, 1 district.
Yes.
So who would have thought that in our state, where we have only 13 medical colleges in Uttar Pradesh, and we are suffering because we don't have doctors, we never allowed medical colleges to happen.
So how much have you progressed on that?
We had a medical council that did not function in the way India had to move forward.
So how much have you progressed on?
With the new dispensation, Every district now has a medical college. We are moving towards that. More than 60 medical colleges are in place. Almost 40 to 45 medical colleges are now operating. One, skill development again, we have started a new policy. This is an area where we have taken private partners like Tata's. They have come over and taken over our ITIs. 150 ITIs have been taken over so that upmarket skilling is to be taken up. I am doing a center of excellence with the Tatas for AI, cyber security, for 3D printing. All these areas are another areas where a lot of work needs to be done. We need to, everyone is talking of artificial intelligence all over the place. We obviously are way behind any country of the world in terms of artificial intelligence and pure area of artificial intelligence. But what is that we can focus upon in Uttar Pradesh is we can train our engineers, we can train our students, we can train our younger generation into how to work in the area of artificial intelligence, because this is where a lot of effort can be made and it will be successful. I was speaking to some of the topmost investors of the world, topmost companies of the world. I would not like to name them. All of them are now looking for youth in India to provide the technological backup to do innovation.
Yes.
Startups and innovation. So these are areas where a lot of effort is there. New startup policy is there in Uttar Pradesh. We have a new policy for higher education. 43 private universities have been established. Of course, there is a challenge so that quality education in private universities is to be taken up. But quality primary education is the very first step for the success of a state. The entire state now has what is called the Kaya Kalp Yojana from the Government of India and other schemes. So every school now has technology. We have smart blackboards, all sorts of 19 areas are there in every school where a lot of effort is being made. So things are being taken up. Of course, we now need to saturate our schools in the state.
Sir, you mentioned the demographic advantage, the fact that we have so much of youth population. India's largest share of youth population is in UP. But just look at hindsight. Ever since COVID-19 pandemic hit us, everyone was all over the world, investor community, the global businesses were talking about China plus one. And we were so hoping that this entire demographic advantage would fetch us all this investment. But a lot of it has moved to smaller countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand. Why not UP?
Well, you're giving the example of Vietnam. I would say that China has invested in Vietnam as disguised investment so that they can do away with the barriers that are being put for companies of China. So I would not like to give a quote on Vietnam. But I can tell you, we have done the defense corridor in our state. The Honorable Prime Minister laid the foundation stone. In Uttar Pradesh, who would have thought that defense corridor would be a possibility? But I can tell you, after 6 years of sustained effort, we now have a situation where at Kanpur, the defense corridor at Kanpur is making ammunition for the country as well as for the world. And more than 2,000 people are now employed there. And this employment is not just for youth from Uttar Pradesh. This employment now is for youth from other states also, because if they are trained in good work, they can obviously get employment in our state. So in COVID, as you have mentioned, 40 lakh of our workers came back from the various states. I was the Home Secretary, so I had to do the entire match. I had to arrange for all the trains which had to come back. I had to arrange for all the buses. I had to also manage the students from Kota who had to come back after the lockdown. So 40 lakh people came. Our Chief Minister said, told all of us officers that, well, why don't we get a complete digital data backup on the people who are coming back. So what we said was, the Labour Department has a lot of funds. Why not give 1,000 rupees each as compensation to these people who are coming? In the garb of 1,000 rupees each, a lot of digital data would come back to us. 40 lakh people were mapped. I can tell you, we have a number, say around 23 to 25 lakh never went back to places in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Maharashtra or Gujarat, because UP already has this boom for new investment. So in these new areas, some of these people could get work. Large, big projects are coming up, as I have just told you. Maybe by June, July next year, we will have the first trial landing at the Jewar airport. And by September next year, 2025, you could travel from New York to Noida straight, bypassing Delhi. So this is the type of development that we are going to have. Yes.
Wow. Sir, historically, landlocked states have struggled economically, right? And the way we are seeing UP's transformation with manufacturing, with a lot of utilization of its manpower strength and so forth, how can the landlocked state like UP boost economic competitiveness when it comes to exports? Because ultimately, the kind of value exports will drive for the economy. Of course, Atmanirbhar Bharat is one focus, but exports.
We have one advantage. I mean, I can say very clearly. We have 25 crore people, so we have the largest market of the country. We have the largest market for internet now. Yeah. Because 25 crore people are working on their mobiles every day. Almost mobile penetration is more than about 60 to 80%. Smartphone penetration is more than 40 to 50%, even in the rural areas. So we are the largest data consumer for the state. We are also the largest consumer now, probably for cement and steel also, because the biggest projects are coming up in Uttar Pradesh as a state as a whole. Then we are also the largest consumer for consumer items, and we will probably very soon overtake other states in terms of number of cars which are used in the state. So all of these things are going to happen. We have the largest expressway network of our state. We did 80,000 crores of expressways in our state. If you today want to travel from here to Lucknow, it hardly takes 6 hours. I have been part of that exercise. I have been the CEO of the expressways network. We did 80,000 crores of expressways. We are now going to have the longest expressway from Meerut to Prayagraj. So if you want to go to the next Kumbh, you can travel from Delhi to Prayagraj in about 8 hours. So who could have thought that this would have been possible? Yesterday, I was in a field in Lucknow where in a poly house, kheera was being grown. And that kheera is being now supplied to Delhi because the expressways allowed very fast movement of vegetables to the various consumer centers in the country. So these things are happening, and obviously हम एक रहेंगे तो नेक रहेंगे, जो योगी जी कह रहे हैं, तो निश्चय ही देश को भी आगे बढ़ाने का जो काम है, सबको एक रह के मजबूती से आगे बढ़ना है. जी.
Sir, do you have a launch date for this drive from here to Prayagraj? You spoke about the new expressway.
Yes. So the Meerut to Prayagraj expressway, Yogi ji was of the view that one, we should have an expressway of the state in the eastern part of the state. So we built the Purvanchal expressway. If anyone of you would have noticed, we got the Honorable Prime Minister to land on an Air Force aircraft on the road. This has never happened anywhere in the country. Then we had something what is called the Bundelkhand Expressway. He said that Bundelkhand is an area where we need an expressway. Then he said that why don't we have an east-west expressway from Delhi to Prayagraj. If you all know, from Delhi to Meerut, there is already an 16-lane road already existing, and an RRTS is also coming, which is going to start next year. The Honorable Prime Minister had laid the foundation stone. First part has already been started. So from Meerut to Prayagraj, we are building a road of 45,000 crores. That's the largest project of the country in the public-private sector. And hopefully by next year, June, we will have it in place. Obviously, when you have fast movement of development happens, logistics happens, consumer growth happens, the state grows on it. There is one point on which I would like to tell you. We are here in the Times Now Summit. I was listening to the speakers on the Munch. I have been reading the Times of India when I was in class 5. So I have done almost 50 years of Times of India reading. And today when I was coming from Lucknow to Delhi, I was reading the Times of India again. And the issue here was on the use of digital gadgets. Yes. Yesterday, Yogi ji inaugurated the National Book Trust Fair at Lucknow. And he did mention, and he is very clear, he's a very avid book reader, that reading is now disappearing from our plate. How many of you are fathers and mothers? How many of you are grandfathers and grandmothers? We are not teaching our children to read. And this is a major issue which is going to challenge our country. Nobody can be a good student unless he or she knows how to read and then obviously write. Yogi ji yesterday said, quite frankly, most children are using a digital device for more than 6 hours in a day. And almost 90% of that time is wasted because it is actually on social media. Yes. I was reading somewhere that Australia is going to ban social media up to 16 years of age. I am all for it. If social media needs to be banned for the younger generation in our country, I am all for it, because slowly and gradually, and I myself am a part of this, slowly and gradually we are now becoming subservient to the technology, rather technology teaching us and we being masters to the technology. So this is again going to be a major challenge. Times now, you all have a history of more than 100 years of reading. You need to take up projects of how to take up reading amongst children.
So I would like to...
And if you want to organize a competition for reading, if you want to organize a competition for taking things forward in this direction, I'll be very clearly part of this project, and we will support it from the state government also. Believe me, there are very few people now, I have seen in our younger days, if you read 4 chapters, आप बड़े आराम से जो है उसको पढ़ के एक बार पढ़ने के बाद you could come back on this. Today, if somebody is given a poem, they can't recite a poem even after reading it for 5 times. Because we don't have this. मोबाइल खोल के तुरंत जो है देखने लगेंगे कि कैसे क्या बोलना है. Now, this is a major challenge for us. If you want, younger children are now not learning the tables. They are all using the calculators and things like these. Simple calculations are now not happening. This is a challenge for us. This is a challenge for us in the younger generation. We need to address this very fast.
So I would like to inform you, sir, that only yesterday, timesnow.in and Times Network Digital have started a campaign asking for public view around whether India should ban or restrict social media for children under 16. Wow. To hear your endorsement, it's very heartening for us. And we would really take this campaign forward, because it's not just about government banning. That's for policymakers like you to decide. But we want parents to be more aware about it. Education is to be more aware about it.
If I were to have my way, I would make right to reading a right. And because even unless you read 25 pages in a day, you are not an educated person. Yes. And this is what I would always suggest. I'm an old-time student, and I'm from IIT Kanpur, and we have seen very good students in the IITs, and of course, in the various educational institutions we keep visiting. All good students are good readers, and all good students are good writers also. So this is something which you will need to promote, and we would be partners for this, personally as well as otherwise.
Thank you, sir. That's so heartening to hear. Sir, there's one more thing which is very close to my heart personally. We send so many students abroad. India has become biggest exporter of students to the world, right? And there was a study which said that $60 billion are being spent on this study abroad. right? This has become a fad. Not all the children are going to Ivy Leagues. If it is about idea exchange, going to the centers of excellence, it's different, because probably they will either bring something back to the economy, or they will be excelling for the betterment of humanities. These are students who are going out because either we are not able to provide them appropriate kind of a platform within the country, and in that format, why don't we really promote private higher education more?
I will answer this question personally. I have two younger brothers who are in the United States. They are United States citizens. They are both from IITs. One of them is also from the IIM. I would not be, and when I joined the civil service, the very question which was asked by my interviewer was, if you are from an IIT, why do you want to become a bureaucrat? I am of the view that every student should be free to be given the choice he or she wants. If the family can afford sending a child abroad to a good institution, the child or the student should be allowed to go. We should not have restricted policies for that. Of course, in the United States, it's going to be difficult now with the type of environment there is. In Europe, it's already very difficult. But what we should do is that in higher education, we should provide good education within our country and allow foreign universities to work within our country, because that will give a challenge to our Indian universities, our private universities, to also do well. I have come across, I have been a higher education secretary, and 5 institutions, 5 universities, the first letter of award has been given by me. They are very known universities. I keep telling all the vice chancellors, all the chancellors, that unless you have good quality teachers, your institution will not survive. Yeah. And this is the main challenge for us, getting good faculty, good teachers for all the institutions. I get a lot of sifarish for बच्चों का admission. स्टेप बाय स्टेप में एडमिशन करा दो. वो कौन सा स्कूल है उनका, शिवनादर के स्कूल में एडमिशन करा दो. कल येस्टरडे आई गॉट सिफारिश की बॉम्बे में एक नीता अंबानी स्कूल है, उसमें एडमिशन करा दो. नाउ पीपल आर ऑल आस्किंग फॉर गुड एजुकेशन. These places are providing good education because they have good teachers. ये जो teachers का जो पूरा एक system है, this will need to be looked into. Engineering institutions, management institutions, medical institutions, all are short of faculty. We as a country will have to take a call on how to provide good faculty to us. My daughter has been to Harvard, but she chose to come back and she's working in India now. So I have seen the Harvard University from inside. I have a niece who's now studying in Stanford, and I've been to the Stanford campus also. I can tell you, I have been to my IIT Kanpur. I'm on the board of innovation of IIT Kanpur. I keep going around all the big institutions of our country. We have a lot of work to do to bring our educational institutions to international standards. Gujarat has made the difference. They are starting campuses from abroad in our country. The UGC now has norms for allowing foreign universities to come into India. We should have an open approach of getting universities into India. We should have an open approach for our students going abroad. There is, the Honorable Prime Minister says this, abhi G20 mein he said this, हमारा जो बिल्कुल भाव है कि the entire world is one. So we in India should have a broader perspective. We should allow our students to go abroad. They will always contribute to India in whatever sense possible. But we will have to provide good quality education in our country. For this, a lot of hard work is required. Competition is always there in the private sector, but obviously the governments will have to ensure that there is no, in the area of quality education, there is no hanky-panky which happens in the private universities.
Sir, last but not least, you emphasize on this topic of teacher training and teacher education. The quality of teachers, not just at higher education level, but even at primary education, even at schooling level, is a big challenge. And although all of us have memory of having that one teacher in our school who really changed our lives, but how do we ensure that this kind of standardized quality improvement happens, and what are the steps being taken in that?
teacher training and teacher motivation and ensuring that, particularly in the government setup, teachers perform at their best is a challenge. And it's a very difficult challenge. I have been part of the system, so I can't really give you ready-made answers. But in the new generation that we have, I can tell you, I'm giving you an example. In Uttar Pradesh, we have seen in the last 5 or 7 years, more than 1 lakh or 1.5 lakh teachers appointed, and quite a few of them are women. Now the challenge for us is that a woman or young lady who gets a job in Sant Kabir Nagar, which is close to Gorakhpur, husband is working in Noida, how do you manage? Now this is a challenge. This is a big challenge. How do you ensure that teachers are where they would like to be and they would like to work? In a government system, that is not possible because transfers of teachers is a major issue. So those challenges are there. So unless the teacher is comfortable in where she or he is posted, so that is a major issue for us. I don't know how we are going to solve that. That's a major challenge for us. 2, children within the government setup, the parents will need to work harder. I keep saying that the parent-teacher meeting is one of the most important systems to regulate education. In the government setup, in primary schools, in the villages, we need to make our parents aware that their children need to have the best of education. I can tell you, slowly and gradually, things are changing. People are sending their children to what they call as nursery schools, even in the villages. But अभी उन nursery schools का standardization नहीं हुआ है. And अभी आपने यूपी में देखा होगा मदरसा का एक issue आया है. I was in a district called Azamgarh, and my MP was a very senior Muslim gentleman. He wanted me to come to a Islamia university for a project under his MP scheme. I said, I will not go unless and until you start teaching science and maths to girl students in that university. So that is again a challenge where we can, some of these areas of madrasas, even in Sanskrit schools, can we not teach science and physics? Doesn't that child have the right to teach, to learn physics and science? So these are issues which we still need to take a call upon. Our society is yet not prepared to answer most of these questions. So these challenges are there. But slowly I see that lots of younger parents are wanting their children to do well. Private schools are coming up. CBSE's pattern is now uniform all over the country. I am sure things will look up in times to come.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the man behind Brand Yogi and Chief Advisor to UP Chief Minister, Shri Avnish Awasthi. Thank you.
All right, it's not every day we're treated to such a candid conversation. And gentlemen, I ask that you please remain with us on stage. What a rich range of insights have emerged from this back and forth. Wonderful. And now we're going to move on to what you've all been waiting for. That's right, we're going to present our first set of awards this evening to recognize your contributions and your compassion that is truly transforming the education sector. And I ask that our two gentlemen help us in doing the honors, and with that, we move forward to our first set of awards. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our first award is Excellence in Educational Leadership, and it goes to Mr. Vipin Sani. Vipin Sani is a chartered accountant and financial advisor of repute by profession. After qualifying from the Institute of Chartered Accountants in 1981, Mr. Sani set up his own practice in Noida and soon became the leading financial advisor in the area. He's forayed into education in 2003 and founded the Mayur School Noida, DWPS, Noida Extension, and colleges DTC and DME affiliated to IP University, Delhi. Thank you, sir. Moving on to our next award, Excellence in Design Education and Skill Development, and it goes to IIFT, the Indian Institute of Fashion and Design. Please, sir. Vimi Bansal is the director of IIFT, Indian Institute of Fashion and Design, and he's a serial entrepreneur and managing director at IIFT, Indian Institute of Fashion Design. It's a very well distinguished personality with over 25 years of experience in design education, and guided by the vision everyone deserves education, staunch supporter of women's empowerment. She's received accolades for her contributions and has played a pivotal role in uplifting skill and design education nationally. Well-known entrepreneur in the field of skill and design education, she's been conferred with many design education awards in her journey till now, and she's been part of many education summits for upliftment of the skill and design-based education across country. Our next award, ladies and gentlemen, is Excellence in Technological Advancement in Preschool Safety, which goes to Footprint Childcare. Raj Singhal, co-founder and CEO, and Mr. Aditya Sharma. Footprints is a leading preschool and a daycare chain in India, operating over 150 centers across different cities. The brand provides a range of early childhood education services, including preschool, daycare, and after-school care, guided by a curriculum designed to foster comprehensive child development. Keep the applause coming, ladies and gentlemen.
Can I have, if you have educationists here, the most lucrative business to do today is preschool. And believe me, my 2 grandchildren, we have to pay 15,000 rupees a month in Delhi for their preschool. So उसमें कोई नियम कानून नहीं है, बच्चे को बच्चा पढ़ाओ, अच्छा वहाँ पे खाना खिलाओ, and the parents आते हैं. I have been a grandfather, and they allow in the preschool for the parent or the grandparent to be also there. And I have spent days with my grandson teaching in the preschool. So preschool is good business. Congratulations.
क्या बात है sir. Lovely. Congratulations once again. All right, our next award is Consistent Excellence Academics Award, and it goes to Delhi Public School GBN. Mr. Shivanand, Director, Finance and Admin Member, SMC DPS GBN, and Ms. Supriti Chauhan, Principal DPS GBN, Delhi Public School, Gautam Budh Nagar. The school was founded in the year 2012 with the aegis of the DPS Society, and the school is affiliated to CBSE and serves as an advanced center of learning as well as a lead school in the hubs of learning. Presently, there are more than 3,500 students in the school, and students have achieved 100% results in Class 10 and in Class 12 CBSE boards till the current year. All graduating students have been placed in leading institutions across the country and in coveted institutions across the globe. Thank you. Our next award is Innovation in Education, and it goes to the Cambridge Foundation, Ms. Seema Khetrapal. Now, Cambridge Foundation School, founded in 1966 by late Srimati Sheila Verma and late Shri Brem Dutt Verma, is a landmark in West Delhi, renowned for its excellence in curricular activities as well as education. And under the helm of Dr. Anita Puri, CBSE and state awardee, the school has established itself for its innovativeness in both conventional and online learning platforms. A fully air-conditioned campus provides a congenial and harmonious teaching and learning environment for the students. Inclusive and NEP-driven teaching technologies and pedagogies are supported by an in-house developed content repository. State-of-the-art science, computer and robotics labs and libraries provide students with the additional impetus required for facing new challenges and becoming global citizens. Thank you once again, and we will move on to our next award category, which is Excellence in Individual Attention to Students, and it goes to Gurukul, the school. Sachin Vats is the founder and the director of Gurukul, the school. Sachin Vats, as the founder, is a visionary educationist, mentor, and award-winning leader whose dedication to education, community service, and philanthropy inspires students and fosters social impact. Congratulations once again to Gurukul, the school. All right, and with that, we move on in just a moment to our next category. There are many, ladies and gentlemen, to celebrate all of your accomplishments. All right, our next category this evening is providing value-based education and inculcating human values, and it goes to a PJ Education. Please come on stage, Mr. N. Nair, a PJ Education Senior Educational Officer. A PJ Education is an institution that has transformed lives through education for over 50 years. With a network of 26 non-profit institutes, a PJ Education combines academic excellence with holistic development, instilling essential life skills in its students. Guided by the legacy of Dr. Satya Paul and led by Mrs. Sushma Paul Baria, a PJ Education embraces innovation, values, and a commitment to nurturing independent thinkers for a brighter future. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll now move on to our next category, which is excellence in academics and co-curricular. And it goes to Lingaya Lalita Devi Institute of Management and Sciences, Dr. Pranav Mishra. Lingaya Lalita Devi Institute of Management and Sciences is a premier educational institution dedicated to providing quality education in the fields of management, media, commerce, IT, and education. With NNAC A+ accreditation, it carries a legacy of almost 25 years. Affiliated with Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, the institute emphasizes a holistic learning approach, blending academic excellence with practical industry exposure. LLDIMS focuses on nurturing creativity, critical thinking, and leadership skills among students, ensuring they are well prepared for the evolving professional world. Thank you. Our next category is excellence in strategic innovation in education, and it goes to OneXtel Communication Media. Ajaz Rizvi and Danish Wani, Director, OneXtel Media Communication. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming OneXtel Communication, a leader in connectivity and innovation. OneXtel is transforming how we stay connected every day. And here to share more about their vision and latest developments, please welcome Mr. Ajaz Rizvi and Danish Wani. OneXtel is, of course, our presenting partner this evening as well. Congratulations once again. It's an honor and a pleasure. Moving on, excellence in academics goes to BGS Vijayanath School. Meenakshi Khurana. BGS Vijayanath School, Career Noida West, is affiliated to CBSE till senior secondary level and is one of the fastest emerging schools of the region. It's equipped with all the facilities required to hone C21 skills, and the unique blend of traditional approach and modern education puts emphasis on the role of spirituality in education, which is a key differentiator, and it also puts it in a different league altogether. And now, finally, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask Mr. Vinay Sarawagi to present a token of appreciation to Mr. Avnish Kumar Avasthi, IAS and Chief Advisor to the Chief Minister, Government of Uttar Pradesh. Let's do the honors. It's been a wonderful back and forth. A lot of candid insights and a lot of depth and breadth have emerged as a result of this conversation. We're incredibly privileged to have Mr. Avasthi here with us tonight. Thank you for being here. Your support is invaluable to us, sir. What a special moment and what an honor to have you grace the occasion, sir. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the continued success. Huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to dive into the world of fashion, education, innovation, and the evolving landscape of creative industries. To begin with our next session, we bring you an exclusive fireside chat. And I'd like to call upon stage Prashant V. Singh, editor of etnow.in, to moderate the panel. And please welcome Akshara Dalal and Harsh Dalal, directors of JD Institute of Fashion and Technology. Let's please have all three of you on stage for what promises to be a riveting conversation. Thank you so much, and keep the applause coming for your fellow colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. We are amongst industry stalwarts tonight. And with that, the floor is yours. Over to you.
Thank you for the kind words. So, since this is a fireside chat, so we'll try to keep this conversation very informal, but highly engaging. So, my colleague, Mr. Vinay Sarabi, just mentioned about the Chinese model. So, I want to start with a Chinese proverb, which says, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So, this aptly suits the journey of JD Institute. You guys started with one institute, and then now it has a towering figure of around 35, if I'm not wrong, across India, including all the regional campuses. And people outside the fashion industry have a general thinking that fashion is all about glitters, lights, camera, ramp walk. But I want today you to reveal it to the larger audience and the public, the hurdles you have faced, bottlenecks you have faced, challenges you have faced as an institute owner when the number is spiked from 1 to 35. And how did you guys try to eradicate those hurdles so as to create a smooth road for the next generation who wants to choose the fashion tech as a career option?
So good evening, everyone. You said it very rightly. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And the institute was started in 1988 by my father, Mr. R.C. Dalal, and my grandfather, Mr. Chandrakant Dalal. At a time when the concept of design education did not exist in India, but the founders had a vision, and they understood the potential of it and the potential of the Indian youth to be at the forefront of it when it comes to design education. The problems that they faced were very similar to someone wanting to introduce something new to the market. So, problem number one was no insight on design education, right? There was no knowledge that existed at that time. And success meant one of only two things. Either you become a doctor or you become an engineer, right? But the vision that the founders had was very strong. There was a lot of self-belief that was involved in it. And the understanding and appreciation for solution-based thinking, I think, was still developing in India, right? So this simple need became a catalyst for one of the biggest design movements in the education industry, and they decided to start this college. I think the second would be the development of curriculum. So students did have access to a lot of reading material, but it was very difficult to navigate through this to create a structured curriculum or a learning pattern, right? So my grandfather and my father, they went to the library, they took out notes from there, they spoke to top people in the apparel sector and actually structured the curriculum. And the entire family sat down to create worksheets and workbooks, which was later delivered to the people who were interested and collected back for assessment. So it was a correspondence program without any kind of an online technology that existed.
So Akshara, now my question to you is that fashion is a different field. People who are creative, people who want to make a different mark, they want to get into this field. But I have a very practical problem. What I have faced, I have listened to, that if a student from tier 2 city, tier 3 city wants to get into an institute like, for example, JD, now he has to pay some fee. For a fee, he has to go to mom and dad. If he goes to mom and dad, mom and dad generally ask, beta fashion kar loge, naukri kahan se lagegi? So do you guys also face these problems that students are admitting to your institutes, but parents are asking, what about placements?
So this is a very valid thing. We see this
Very practical.
Absolutely. I think every time a parent comes in and says, you know, what is my kid going to do? What does the design field include? Because what we see on television is only the glamour. Then they see these celebrated designers come in, do a show, go back, earn money. Now parents are worried, do they make it big or not? But there's one thing that I'd like to tell the parents is that, you know, your child comes in and studies fashion, interior, communication. There's a common denominator called design. Now, design is not just limited to making a pretty garment. I see ladies wearing lovely saris. But it's not limited to just that. Or creating a space for an interior designer is not just making a banquet hall with a pretty carpet, good upholstery. Students back at the campus understand that they are problem solvers. They're as close to us being innovators. So we have students working on these futuristic themes that do not only use fashion or interior or communication as a way of giving pretty-looking things out there, aesthetically pleasing, but actually changing in terms of how we interact with our surroundings. So a very simple example I could give you from our last year's show. Does anybody know what is civilization type 1 by show of hands? So this is a problem that we see, where kids are not exposed or introduced to these amazing concepts. Civilization type 1 is simply a civilization that harnesses all renewable energy sources. So as fashion designers, interior designer students back at the campus, our students worked on projects that used these renewable resources. Somebody made a solar shirt for hiking. So once a person hikes, the shirt gets charged and you can actually charge your phone. Or somebody made a bioresponsive space, which means that when you go in, the house interacts with you through technology as much as a human interacts. So don't limit your child to thinking that they're only going to make pretty-looking things. They're actually making functional things.
Since we spoke about placements, so at JT Institute, what do you guys promote more? I mean, entrepreneurship or jobs?
So we are Gujaratis, so entrepreneurship is in our blood. And whenever a student needs help regarding starting a business or venturing out into a new field, they can always come to us, have a conversation, and we do put them in touch with the right kind of people, the right resources, and any good opportunities that we can give them to do some collaborative project with other entrepreneurs. But having said that, we have a fantastic placement team. And the team is constantly in touch with the industry, collecting feedback, and really making sure that the extra edge is given to the student. Now, this pattern I have seen personally, there are certain skills that have these phases of trending, right? And this is an era of one-up, the extra skills. If you know how to develop a product, can you also write content, right? Do you know about designing? Yes, great. But can you also understand social media? So this trend of one-up is there in the industry. And, it's important to have this diversity for the student to have this learning. And an ecosystem is very important. That's what we really make sure of it. From training to placements to making sure they have the right opportunities to showcase their talents. And that's where I think iFestival, that's how iFestival was born. It has an audience of around 8,000 people. It is a 2-day event. It has 4 shows. It has 700 students who are selected from all across India to participate. Now the good thing about this is, a student in, let's say, Siliguri or Lucknow or Surat, would think that he is the best in his class, right? And they get into that, I'm the best. But now what? Now they have to compete with top people from 35 to 40 campuses across India. Now, this is a very humbling experience that we really need to give to the youth of our country.
Okay. So since we are running out of time, we have very tight schedule. So one final comment on you are live on India's largest and most credible news network, Times Network. So from this platform, do you want to give any message to parents who don't let their kids explore fashion as career option?
I think they shouldn't do that because one thing that we fail to understand is that everything that you see around has been designed, which means it's a profession that's highly lucrative and it's highly important. So if you don't allow your kid to actually be an inventor and innovator of the future, what are you really doing? So don't limit yourself, don't limit your kids as well in terms of identifying their creativity, looking at how problem solving could be done with the best of the equipments and tools that they have. And yeah, I think if your passion is there, why stop anybody?
Yeah. Thank you so much for such a candid chat. I am sure there are many, many takeaways from this. And people who are dreaming big to make a mark in the fashion industry will surely get something and achieve something from this conversation. Thank you so much. Thank you, audience, as well.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you to our moderator and to our panelists. And Prashant, I ask that you please felicitate Akanksha and Harsh both. I think that was a very relatable conversation for those of us that have kids. Guidance without influence or overwhelming influence is such a delicate balance so that they can go on to achieve their dreams and make us proud. A token of appreciation from timesnow.in. This is a special moment which we'll all cherish. We thank you for being here, Akanksha and Harsh both. And we wish you and your team all the continued success. All right, thank you so much, Prashant. And as technology reshapes every aspect of our lives, artificial intelligence stands poised to redefine the educational landscape. I'm perhaps stating the obvious here, but from personalized learning paths to smarter administrative systems, AI is creating unprecedented opportunities for both students and educators. And today we have with us leading experts to explore how AI can make learning more accessible, more inclusive, and future-ready. So let's dive into this conversation on what the future holds for AI in our schools. And to discuss this, may I please request Priya Parikh, Associate Editor of timesnow.in, to join us back on stage to moderate the session. And ladies and gentlemen, please now give it up for our esteemed panelists, who include Dr. Sazina Khan, Head of Department, Bhukatar Education Advancement and Management International. Please, ma'am, it's a pleasure to have you. And we look forward to your insights. And joining her, Mr. Sachin Vats, Founder Director, Gurukul, the school. Sir, kindly do us the honors by joining us on stage. All right. And then we also have Mrs. Supriti Chauhan, Principal, Delhi Public School, Gautam Budh Nagar. All right, I think that marks our Power Pack panel right there. So with that, over to you, Ms. Parikh. Take it away.
So good evening, everyone, once again. And now is time for a discussion on the most exciting, innovative, and even the most futuristic conversation on one of the most fascinating topics of our times, and that is artificial intelligence in the future of schools. So if you have ever wondered if robots will be replacing teachers, if AI will be assessing our papers, then we are here to explore all of these questions and even beyond. So fasten your seatbelts as we set off on this journey to explore what future holds for AI in our schools. And I would like to start with a fun question because before we start this tech-heavy discussion, let's warm up a little bit. So I want to ask each one of you, if you were an AI tool, what would be your specialty? Think of it as your AI superpower. I would like to start with Dr. Sazina Khan.
Again, if I was an AI tool, I would focus on personalization, because personalization is something that is missing right now, and probably that is something that we should be focusing on, because then we are looking at equity in education. So artificial intelligence would cater to equity in intelligence. That would be my tool.
Absolutely. Mr. Sachin Vats, what would you be like to be?
Thank you. If I was an AI tool, then probably I'll not be corrupt. Because human beings are corrupt, machines are not. And the response which machines take from human beings, that makes them corrupt probably. So if I was an AI tool, I'll have no biases.
Wonderful. Mrs. Supriti Chauhan, what would be your specialty?
Since AI tools are meant to help personalization, I would say I would like to be an AI tool which turns every content or information a child or a teacher seeks for into a multi-sensory approach. So instead of just reading what you asked for, you also get a visual, you also get an audio, and you also probably get a tactile. I don't know how, but that's how I'd like to see it.
Great answers, everybody. Can we have a huge round of applause, because such interesting answers we got here. And now that we have warmed up a little bit, it's time to dive into this exciting conversation. I would like to start with Dr. Sazina Khan. How do you think, first of all, we can integrate AI in our classrooms, and how do you think it can benefit students, educators, and administrators alike?
Again, when we are talking about AI, we are talking about fostering education in today's world, while we are catering to equity and then understanding that artificial intelligence is not going to be a substitute, but it's going to supplement. What is it going to supplement? It's going to supplement greater education, creating future leaders where we ensure that they are equipped with 21st century skills to face the world. Now, when we are focusing on 21st century skills, we'll be looking at creativity, communication, and most important aspect that we tend to miss out is collaboration. Because we focus a lot on curriculum building, we focus a lot on curriculum design, or probably embedding teaching and learning, but then collaboration is the key to success. So
Absolutely.
That is something which we should be focusing on.
Absolutely. Mrs. Supriti Chauhan, I would like to discuss a slightly sensitive topic on this note as well. Firstly, how do you think AI can help us shift away from standardized curriculums to more individualized learning paths? And then I would also like you to discuss a little bit about how we can take AI's help amid this growing suicide rate, especially among students. Because I think the prime reason is also because we are expecting all the students to learn at the same pace.
Okay, so possibly I'll begin with answering to your first question, where you ask how we make the shift. So you actually answered the question itself when you said individual learning paths. So main job, as we say, since we are promoting AI into curriculum, into student learning, I would say, is to present learning that suits every child. Instead of just one glove that fits all, I would say personalized learning is the key to actually harness the power, the strength of an AI tool. So having said this, when a content or a learning content is transacted in a classroom, teaching, learning happens, you have 30-odd children sitting in front of you, and all of may not grasp it in the same way as it is meant to. The goal would not be, or the output may not be the same. That's where an AI tool comes in, supports the child's learning journey, the same content when after the teacher's lecture, or after the teacher's transaction, if it is presented in exercises or activities through an AI support tool, actually personalizes where the child stands. The weaknesses, the strengths of the child, tells the tool how much or how go back a step back and then represent the same information or the curriculum or the learning content. So I would say, begin with blended learning, begin with what a teacher presents in the class, transacts in the class, and thereafter take it to assessment or a fun activity through an AI tool, which every child, all 30 of them take, but they will be at a different pace, they will be at a different learning path. However, that divide, somebody could be behind, somebody could be much ahead. That divide is what the AI tool can bridge in, and the teacher can take the feedback and thereafter revise, reiterate, or iterate her own content when she goes back into the class. That's the way forward I see it, and that's how we are trying to do it in our school. Having said this, to your second question where you said, how does an AI tool help a child who's having, you said suicidal
amid this increasing suicide rate, do you think we can use AI to benefit our students and decrease the anxiety or the pressure that they feel, which ultimately leads to the extreme step?
Now, there are two aspects to it, and that's absolutely personal, I would say, experience and opinion. I'm absolutely conventional and traditional when it comes to being an educator, but I do not undermine the power of technology, and I consider myself a student first before I take the same technology into the classroom, which I feel begins at the very traditional level. I think Awasthi sir just mentioned that we are weaning away our children from reading, but listening, speaking, reading, writing, two very conventional, traditional ways of learning cannot be done away with. Having said this, keeping that traditional aspect and the technology aspect, which we must and should take it in our stride and move forward, using technology to be able to guide, help, and counsel children who exhibit such tendencies, and living in a world where parents are busy, where a child goes back home when there's nobody at home. Maybe the child does not have access to friends he or she can talk to, or a teacher he can get back to. Even she has a family she has to go home to. She may not be available round the clock. That's where I think we can have a tool or an AI-driven tool or an app which helps the child seek answers or seek that guidance and counseling that would help the child tide over the tendencies one is feeling. I recently came across a gentleman who had come to school with two platforms they had made as a company, Chennai-based. We are still exploring the possibility, and we will go in with them. One of the tools, both the tools, one of the tools is for career guidance, where a child makes a profile, and whatever the child's interests are, they feed in, and the AI technology helps the child build a portfolio and what to take. And this begins at grade 7. The second tool, as you said, I would say, I wasn't expecting this question, but then probably I had to share this. See, the other tool, again, mandatory for all children to create their profiles along with their parents. So the ultimate control remains with the parent. However, the child is free to interact and ask the most difficult questions or the most emotional questions or most questions that the child has not been able to ask the AI, which will be visible to the parent. And if the parent gives access to the teacher, even the teacher would have it. And one of the things in that tool is when you have such difficult times, challenging times, and you feel like self-harm, or you've been trolled, or you've been bullied, then what do? Do you direct, if you don't have any adult to speak to, you speak to an AI, which will give a beep to the parent, to the teacher, and then the human intervention comes in. Because these things, I think, cannot be just left. That's where my traditional personality comes in. You can't just depend on an AI for such thoughts. That's where human intervention should come in and help the child forward.
Right. So this brings me to my next question also, Mr. Sachin Vats. AI depends largely on a lot of personalized information. So a lot of personal information of the students is required for them to use AI. Now, how do we ensure ethical use of AI and data privacy in this case?
If you're speaking from the school's perspective, then I guess most important is school must be sensitive to know what information should be shared with the companies who are your partners. And also, there's no need of taking those unnecessary information and data which has no relevance to the application of the technology in the school. Having said this, some anonymous, like schools having ERPs and they have some solutions, so they can probably have those IDs and all, which are school generated. That doesn't need any other data. And also, one's value system is very important. I guess the greed of data, and since Government of India has come up with a very, very strong data privacy policy, which is not yet popular with masses. I am sure as schools, as policymakers, each one of us has a responsibility to tell that we are slowly and gradually moving in the direction where data privacy is something which will call for a lot of penalties and all. So this automatically becomes a topic of training to the children, to the staff, to the parents, because eventually school's responsibility is educating the child and influencing the home. So if we do that, eventually what you are trying to do is you are trying to create a society which eventually comes up and understands being a responsible, contributing citizen for the future.
Right. So I would now also like to talk a little bit about over-reliance on AI. So Dr. Sazina, I want to know from you, with platforms like ChatGPT, it's very easy to create content for anybody, for students. They just give a prompt, and you can also specify what kind of content you want, and then you have everything all over there. So do you not think that easy access to AI, and especially these kind of platforms, also diminishes students' critical thinking and other essential skills? And how do we ensure that there is ethical and productive use of these tools without over-reliance on them?
Very interesting question. Now, again, when we are looking at over-reliance, you know the simple phrase, excess of anything is bad? So I would say the same for AI. Again, it takes me back to the same point that I was mentioning. It's a supplement and not a substitute. So again, educating our youth or setting up a classroom that it is inquiry-based learning setup, where you have an inductive approach that you let the students explore using 5 E's or gradual release, any process that you want to embed it. But then at the same time, ensuring that their critical thinking skills or their collaboration skills or creation, innovation, or entrepreneurial skills are developed, giving them enough time to collaborate in real time. Now we are ensuring that they are using their time in the classroom through blended learning, where they are working through think, pair, share, or different collaborative strategies. But then you are making sure when to include AI. Now, you will make sure as an educator that you want to include AI. Now, it can be done through different platforms. You can use Kahoot, you can use Padlet. They are endless. But then over-reliance. Now, you need to educate your students. How do you do that? That takes us back to embedding those literacy skills or digital literacy skills into the curriculum. Because if we are looking at Common Core curriculum, or I'm talking from British curriculum point of view, you're looking at that being embedded from grade 1 level. Why wait for middle school or high school where you are looking at research skills? Why not tell a child that what is a resource, what is a source, what is a credible source? And just while you're reading with your kid a normal book, talk about illustration. So when you're looking at the illustration, you're clearly telling him, where is the illustration, or do you see the name? Just ensuring that the parents are also aware about this, because it is not only the onus of the schools or the educators to make the students learn, but it also takes care of including all the stakeholders where the parents are involved. Second thing is, we should ensure that you have these skills, the plagiarism checkers, that's perfectly fine. But we are also looking at embedding it in a way that you are not just relying on them. Why not go back to traditional ways, or, it is drawing up a balance of traditional technologies where you're using those, peer-reviewed articles. You're going back, how you're embedding it, and then at the same time ensuring that students know that there is going to be a follow-up and there are going to be consequences, because if you want to make sure that there's a framework, you need to educate your students about it. You need to develop that literacy skills in them from the very beginning, ensuring that they know what is right and wrong, and that ethical consideration cannot come from AI, sorry. That hasn't been developed yet. That is the reason why educators are here, why we all are here. Because till the time education is there, we need to still look back that they are not, sometimes what happens, just the way AI is set up, it just generates that it is AI detected. But then there might be a student who has actually worked on that research paper and reprimanded for the mistake. He hasn't even done it. So why not ensure that the child is not reprimanded for the mistakes he hasn't done, making sure that you know there's a rubric in place where the teacher will reflect back, there is a human checker first, then the AI is going to take place. So ensuring that AI is just supplementing it and ensuring that students are also aware of it, and teachers, educating the teachers, because like what we are doing right now in Dubai, by Director General Aisha Mehran, we just started a program there in April 2024, where we are educating educators about the use of AI. And then when the educators know how AI is going to be incorporated, they're going to be embedding it in their class, but at the same time, they're going to be presenting it in the next conclave. So they know how are they going to cooperate with that embedded technology, but not just relying on it, making sure that it's fostering, it's ensuring that the child is progressing and attaining at the grade level, not just regressive, and it's not diminishing the critical thinking skills, because there are some skills where the child just learns resilience, perseverance by actually those hands-on activities. AI cannot teach that. So we really need to know that hands-on skills have to come.
Absolutely.
With the skills.
And on that note, I want to ask Mr. Sachin Watts, how much can we actually rely on these AI detection tools? Because I would like to mention it here that it's very interesting also that a LinkedIn user pointed that 97% of Bible is AI generated as per these flawed tools. Even Mahabharata and parts of Mahabharata are AI generated. For that matter, even Bible is AI generated, and so on. And also very recently, a woman from Pakistan had claimed that she lost her job. She was rejected by the employer because a flawed AI detection tool flagged her original work as AI generated. Now, how much and to what extent can we actually rely on these AI detection tools to assess our papers and the assignments?
Well, this is something which I would recall a word called false negative and false positive. So something which, as an individual, as schools, this is where our role comes, because it is a tool which supplements, as Dr. Shazia said. We are trying to make our children understand the difference between fake and real. And sometimes, in the hurry of taking everything on board, schools do a mistake. So every school is different. They have a different philosophy. The need analysis is important. They need to understand that the framework is defined, and they have this AI policy in place. Like we reach out to an expert. Say, for example, we go to a tax consultant, we go to a doctor, we go to an architect, we go to an structural engineer when institution needs them. Similarly, I would strongly recommend that we have an AI expert identified and school takes them on board, have a thorough discussion, the management, the teachers, the people who are the decision makers, and then probably once this is done, and they in turn will educate them on these challenges, which are so popular nowadays that people are not able to identify between fake and real, and the generated content is sometimes doubtful, because this is the limitation of technology. And for this, the all these biases can be overcome if more data is fed, because at the end of the day, it's a language model. The data is coming from whatever is in the past. It cannot see anything in the future. So all these patterns, all these things which have experiences, and whatever company, be it ChatGPT, Gemini, Bard, or you name anything, whatever they are feeding as in the database, it is probably trying to take it and a pattern is being followed. So if this pattern has some authenticity, you will get something which is called false negative or positive, but at the end of the day, it is all depends on this institution's willingness. If you want your children, if you want students, or if you want future generation to absolutely understand the relevance and use this as an aid to enhance human potential, human intelligence, and human purpose, we need to have patience and go a little slow, because it's something which is new. When internet was discovered, we took jolly good time to have faith on that. Similarly, AI has just come. We know that it has no substitute. It has to be there, but we need to be very, very sensible in using it and ensure that we give the best to our kids.
Absolutely. I think that also emphasizes the fact that there is a lot of work that still needs to be done in field of AI. It's just come. So there are a lot of solutions that we are expecting in the coming times. But I have a very interesting question for Mrs. Supriti Chauhan. And by asking this question, I also want to just emphasize my point as well, that when you learn from a human teacher, there is a human connection, right? And there's a lot of motivation. Sometimes it's not that a student is not good at something. He just needs a little bit of motivation. He just needs right strategy to go about it, right? But these are the skills that are difficult for AI to replicate, no matter how smartly it is designed. So how do we strike this balance in our classrooms? What do you think about that?
I think the answer to that is very simple. AI can never replace human connection. So whatever learning, teaching learning that's happening inside a classroom or one-on-one or in little groups, a teacher, as you very rightly said, humanizes the content. She tries to transact the learning content in a manner where children sitting in front of her takes the best out of it. Having said that, as I said earlier also, that not every child learns at the same pace. Once the teacher has given the input, the transaction, the same can be given into a form of some activity or some kind of a assessment, which of course has a feedback to it through an AI tool. And a child is supposed to take that assessment or that activity on his or her own at home or in the school, wherever. And whatever the progress child makes or whatever the output the child delivers, is to be discussed again back with a human form, which of course is the teacher here. So the key is, absolutely, you rightly said, is the balance. You strike a balance. You cannot totally depend on an AI. However, again, as I said, I'm a great proponent for using AI and digital literacy for our children, because they have to move in the same world where the rest of the world is already learning it. Having said this, it is very important for the teacher to be trained well enough to know how much or how to strike a balance, so that there is some human content, the learning, which happens organically, and which is strengthened and augmented by an AI tool, not only for the child, but also for the teacher, because it also makes her life easy.
Right. So to wrap things up, I have a very big and yet very easy question for each one of you. Because when AI came, everybody was talking about how it might replace a job. So even for content creators, I think most of the times it was said, buckle up, because ChatGPT is here. So I want to ask this question to each one of you just to set the record straight. What do you think, Dr. Khan? In future, do you think robots can replace teachers in classrooms?
Again, my colleagues here already summed it up quite well. Robots will never be able to replace teachers. Remember, humanization is really important. Why did we learn? Was it about the content? No. It was about the delivery. It was about that person standing there who taught us. So how would you I mean, just having an eye contact with you and me, I mean, that is something that everyone looks at. I was having a conversation before the session with the Vice Chancellor sitting here. We were talking about what is lacking these days with the doctors and the patient. It's the human connection, it's the bond. So that bond, the mentor-mentee bond, is the utmost important thing. That's the crux of education. So it will never be replaced by AI, no matter what you do. Yes, it's an amazing tool that it will aid to teachers. You know, we had those teaching assistants, so yes, AI can be our teaching assistants, definitely. But yes, at the same time, we will ensure that the teachers are trained enough to know how to navigate through AI and use it to the full potential. At the same time, equip them to educate the students where to use it, when to use it, and how to use it.
Absolutely. Mr. Watts, would you like to be a little optimistic for people who believe too much in science and technology? Do you think robots will be able to replace teachers anytime?
Well, I would like to quote the author of *Sapiens*, Yuval Noah Harari. He says, to quote him, that I am concerned about the danger of natural stupidity than artificial intelligence. So probably if we are sensible enough to understand that I have to, because I have invented it as a human, I must keep it in my control. I should not let a day come when this robot is going to control me. So I have to be sensible. If I am sensible, I don't think that's going to happen ever.
Mrs. Chauhan, I know your answer, but I really want it from you.
So our answer is, of course, most certainly not. But slightly digressing from what you asked, I just wanted to share. So in our school, we have EWS children, about 200 plus. How we used AI, because we send a lot of messages in English and circulars in English, messages on WhatsApp, ERP. And it became challenging for these children's parents to understand what the school is sending as a message. So all of our WhatsApp has an AI tool called Llama. I'm sure everybody's using. So how we trained, we called the parents in, and it was a micro session, not more than 10 minutes. How we trained them that if we are sending something in English, all you have to do is we put it down on the board, turn, not even translate, turn it into Hindi. That's it. So whatever message that came in, copy, go to Llama, it's there on your WhatsApp, paste, and it translates it beautifully in Hindi. So that's how we used an AI tool to help. So in the end, it is again human intervention which taught the parents or which taught the community how to use it. So definitely not teachers in the form of parents, teachers, educators are going to stay. AI is not going to take over them.
So it's a big no from all three of them. But, well, folks, that was a mind-blowing ride through the future of education. We have explored how AI can change the classrooms in the coming future, how AI can help make classrooms more smarter, but definitely they are not going to replace teachers, and robots are not going to assess our papers. Thank goodness for that. So we can put it like this, that if AI is magic, then human connection is actually the thing that brings everything come alive. So human connection always remains more significant no matter how technologically advanced we become. And a huge thank you to our panelists and to all of you for being so patient throughout this discussion. Here is to the future of education where AI and humanity harmonize. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again. And some real tangible updates there that we can all relate to. And I ask that all of our panelists and our moderator remain on stage. Mr. Vinay Saravagi, we'd like you back on stage to present our panelists a small token of our appreciation, a symbol of our gratitude for being here at the TimesNow.in Education Survey and Conclave 2024. Yes, keep the applause coming. A lot of rich insights emerged from that conversation. Lovely. And this conversation truly brought a global perspective. Thank you. Thank you once again. Thank you once again. Okay, quick photo up. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. And moving on, we have an insightful discussion lined up for you on shaping the next generation of leaders in India. All right, so today we're here to explore how education can be a transformative force, nurturing critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and innovation in young minds. And in a world driven by change and complex challenges, the role of education has never been more crucial, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll hear from our esteemed panelists on how schools, teachers, and policymakers can empower students to not only succeed, but to lead. So let's dive into this conversation and envision a future where education creates well-rounded, resilient, and forward-thinking leaders for India. And to take the proceedings ahead, if I could please call back on stage Mr. Prashant V. Singh, editor of ETnow.in, to moderate the panel, sir. So welcome back. And ladies and gentlemen, joining him in what promises to be a power-packed session, Dr. Markandeya Ahuja, founder, Vice Chancellor, Baba Masnath University, Rohtak and Gurugram University, Gurugram. Thank you, sir. Professor and Dr. Pradeep Kulshrestha, Dean, Bennett School of Law. Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to have you. And Insha Iskazi, founder and CEO of SSMD School of Fashion and Design. And lastly, Ashok Kumar, VC of Sports of University, Haryana. Let's have all of our panelists on stage, please. All right. And with that, we promise to offer you a 360-degree perspective. And Prashant, the floor is yours.
So topic is, this topic touches everybody's life on a daily basis. Shaping future leaders and the role of education in fostering innovation, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence in the next generation. And what role does the education play in achieving all these things? So before I start, I would like to cite a Harvard Review blog that I read recently. It said, leaders create more leaders, and managers create subordinates. And managers create followers, and leaders nurture leadership qualities in their promising juniors. So what do you think, I will start from Dr. Ahuja, that what do you think that what all changes our education system needs so as to create more and more leaders and start a chain reaction of creating leaders?
Thank you, Prashant, for bringing me here. Actually, I have been listening to the proceedings here all around. My question first is that what do we understand by education? India has been the leader of education. We have been called Vishwaguru. But why have we ever thought? We had two parts to education. Vidya, we called it one and Apara Vidya, and one Para Vidya. Apara means what we have been talking all through in the sessions, and Para is for self-realization. So we have to think in terms of the education in toto first. What do we understand by education? What do we mean by education? And we have been talking about emotional intelligence, as you said. I agreed, Daniel Goleman gave this concept in 1995. But if you look at Indian philosophy, we are all through emotional intelligence. We had EQ 5,000 years ago. We talked about EQ. We talked about SQ. We talked about adversity quotient. We talked about patience quotient. So many things we talked about earlier. But now, why are we confining ourselves to only one part of intelligence, that is emotional intelligence? Yes, I agree it has become important because the Indian education system in last 60, 70 years was only confining itself to one part of intelligence, that is memory testing. Now from memory at least we have gone beyond, and NEP 2020 has clearly defined and given a lot of role to EQ and SQ. So we have to combine all these quotients together to have a holistic education approach in our country. And I personally feel that we should not talk in parts, we should talk in toto. And I'll give you one example. People were talking about skill. I agree skill is important. But if you look at the data, it is 10% skill and 90% of the attitude. And we are looking at developing skill, but we are not looking at developing will, which is equally important. We are looking at developing content. We are not looking at developing intent, which is equally important. We have talked about profitability all through in our education system as what is the placement rate, what package, and we have never talked about credibility there. So I personally feel that the science which is talked about what, where, when, how, who, whom, these were we were taught by our teachers as 7 uncles if you are a science students. But let me add the 8th one, which is the want, which is the curiosity, which was primary to our Indian education system. And I personally feel that creating a curiosity in the child is much more important than anything else. And if you create curiosity in a child, if you create want in a child, I think they will be born leaders.
So I think content versus intent is a great line, great takeaway. Coming to you, Dr. Kulshresht, since you are from such a prestigious Bennett University, on a daily life at university, do you face that there are circumstances when we need leaders from universities and colleges as well?
Thank you very much for that question. I represent Bennett University. It's a prestigious university backed by Times Group, and it's a city within city. So I'll invite all of you. You can come and visit our campus. We have 10,000 plus students on the campus, and it's a budding campus with 7 schools, interdisciplinary approach. And as you say, leaders, I will rather add to it, we need a strong mentor-mentee relationship. Because unless we have a strong mentor-mentee relationship in an education institution, we can't have leaders or, for that matter, any change maker. Because we all in our personal lives, we had someone, a mentor, who gave that flip to our vision, to our delights. So I think education, especially higher education at university level, needs that Guru Shishya Parampara to reinvent so that we can handhold this future of this great nation so that they can express themselves, they can dream big, they can innovate, they have freedom to fail. All that will come when we treat them as our own, in a very strong bond which fosters them. And I am reminded of Prime Minister Modi Man Ki Baat long back. And in that he told very fine thing, that a teacher must introspect that how many of his student or her student called him or her in their marriages. That is a bond we need to cultivate.
Yes. So with the Guru Shishya Parampara, I would like to move on to Mr. Kumar. You have an amazing success story, right from village school, typically Guruji school kind of, and then to IIT, then top police rank in Uttarakhand as DGP, and now you are honing sports personalities for their skills as Vice Chancellor of Sports University of Haryana. So your experiences have been from different domains and different personalities. Do you think leadership lessons should be a part of a school's syllabus as well, so as to excel in different fields, whether it's sports or education or whatever it is?
I do agree that we need these leadership skills, rather life skills, as part of our curriculum from higher secondary onwards. I did my BTech and MTech from IIT Delhi, and after passing out, I was at a loss for many things. It taught us many things. It's not that IIT system does not teach you things, because it's excellent at IQ, you know. It teaches us efficiency, excellency, how we achieve efficiency and excellence in life. But it somehow lacks in value education. It somehow lacks in basic life skills. Because I strongly believe that IQ is important, very important, but only for the early stages of life. If we want to rise in the higher echelons of life, we need to have very good EQ, emotional quotient. So, and the other qualities that my co-panelist mentioned, I would say that they become all part of EQ. Because EQ includes our social skills, EQ includes so many things. So leadership qualities have to be taught in the school, or rather at college level. Because what I felt is, being an IPS officer after IIT, that we need to have critical thinking, right decision, right time. What will be the various aspects of making a decision, whether I need to do lathi charge or not, whether I need to, to control the crowd, at what stage I will need firing. If I take this decision, what will be the impacts of this decision? Right. So it's a very critically thought out decision. Yeah. So decision making, right decision at right time. Similarly, higher EQ, time management, right? All these things have to be taught. Like, I would say 3 Idiots, we all seen. Yeah. Just see the innovation. It's not rote learning, it is innovative ideas, it is visionary ideas that will make you leaders. So I strongly believe that this education needs to be taught, especially from higher secondary onwards. Leadership skills, life skills.
Should be included.
Yes, must be included.
Yeah. Thank you. So, Inshaz Qazi, I was researching on you, then I got to know that you are an aspiring farmer also. You are an interior designer also, civil engineer as well, and a businesswoman. So multiple domains you have served in a nutshell, if you can say. Did you face any situations when you severely felt that we need leaders in different organizations, institutions, or companies, not managers? If leaders were there, that could have been managed in a different manner or in a better manner.
Yes. So, sir, thank you for doing a research on me. And while you were researching, I think you have missed the major domain of my life, which was something so personal, because we're talking about leadership, and it has actually tested my personal leadership skills. So, sir, I founded SSMD School of Fashion and Design in 2017, and in Kashmir. By Kashmir, I mean it's not any other part of the India. It's Kashmir. And the word fashion was one of the biggest taboos in Kashmir. It was a time when hartals, social boycotts, and a lot of tension was in the air. We're talking about 2017. So when I started with the batch of fashion designing, so a lot of girls were very interested to come and study. And it was the first time, the only institute in the valley that has opened. And I used to face a lot of challenges. The first challenge that I used to face was a social challenge. I used to have girls coming to me and boys coming to me and telling me, ma'am, could you please convince our parents that we want to study here? The mindset of the parents that time. And they were like, no. If our children go in fashion designing, they will be walking on the ramp walks wearing skimpy clothes. So there were a lot of social challenges that I faced. But how I emerged through it is because I paved the way. I tried to foster leadership through a vision. I never forced a student that this is what you have to do. I never supervised them. I believed in them, and I entrusted them with whatever I could. And just after a year, our students had multiplied 3 times. Our students were participating in Russia. They were participating in Amazon Fashion Weeks and all big fashion names of the country. And that was one of the major things that I overcame. And then you asked me about the homestay. So when we talk about hospitality, the hospitality is something that has to be something very innovative and adaptive. So usually what happens in hospitality industry, by the way, we are one of the, I run one of the unique and favorite homestays of the country, which was given, the title was given by Condé Nast and MMT. So sir, in this, usually we have last minute cancellations. And sometimes what happens, the guests start fighting and they're like, at the last minute that we are not going to pay the bill. So this becomes, for the staff and for the people who are working there, this becomes something very uncomfortable because they have delivered a service and they're not getting paid for the service. In that area especially, we try to maintain leadership in a way which gives a very positive outlook to both the parties, and we try to resolve the matters. So I believe good leadership is when we resolve the matters instead of taking them higher.
Okay. So Insha, since you mentioned about the parents, so our subtopics is fostering innovation.
Yes, sir.
So I was reading this that during early ages, we promote our kids to color within the boxes, within the lines. We value that. But when they move into professional lives, their managers, their reporting heads, they say, come up with new ideas, think outside the box. Yes. So that becomes contrary. Yes. So what do you think parents needs to change in terms of fostering innovation, and how education can play a role in this?
Sir, I think first of all, when it comes to critical thinking, it's very important to foster critical thinking in the parents first, and then it could be passed on to the students, to their children.
Fostering innovation, precisely.
Yeah, in fostering innovation, and I believe that we have to be updated. We have to be updated with the market, with the current trends. Like there's a subject that we teach that is future forecasting. So it's usually related to the fashion students and how we tell them, you know, after 10 years from now, the whole industry is going to shape, and how innovation is going to be a part of your future. So even in hospitality, so we're not doing the things that have been happening since years. So to foster innovation, we make sure that we have to make sure that parents are in sync with what is happening today, and they have to know that what is going to happen 5 years or 10 years from now.
Okay. Kumar sir, so since you are at the Sports University of Haryana, and sports is a big focus, so do you think fostering innovation helps sports personalities also? I mean, playing new shots with new techniques, how does it help?
See, innovation has its own value. We all know about Prakash Padukone, right? He was our first world champion in badminton. He was world #1 also. He won All England. And you know, all due to what? Just one stroke. One new stroke he invented, that was half smash.
Yes, great example, yeah.
Something between drop and the smash. So that's how innovation matters. So if we can, bring out new ideas, they work everywhere. Not just sports, not just education, everywhere the new ideas work, and that is the role of a leader. You know, making them think, making them question everything, what, why, when, where, what for. The moment we start doing, we will start having new ideas. Because then we are not going for the beaten path. We are inventing our own path. So that's what innovation is, and it is useful everywhere, not just sports, everywhere.
Professor Kulshesh, yeah. So do you face these challenges at Bennett University that in early ages we promote contrary, and at university level and professional life we promote something else?
Yeah. See, India is the fastest growing economy, and as Prime Minister's vision is that soon we are aspiring to be $5 trillion economy. And at Bennett University, we focus a lot on entrepreneurship and innovation. We have a center dedicated for this. We have a hatchery. And one of our residents, he has a startup which is soon going to be a unicorn. And we have 200 crore plus startups in our university. And our university is a very young university. It came into inception in 2016, and we lost 3 years to COVID. So seeing the young age, we focus a lot on innovation and entrepreneurship. We have courses on design thinking. We have courses on entrepreneurship. We have courses, even AI, because AI is going to be a disruptor in a big way. So we have a mandatory course on AI. So as they say, that innovation is in the air, because without that you can't survive, you can't grow. And national education policy changes the game. It says instead of being or producing a student who is job seeker, we should be producing a student who is job giver. Unless we do that, we can't take care of such a large population. And we say we are a young nation. We have, dividend of young population. So unless we change the game, and universities have to do this, universities have to be in forefront.
Someone said from the panelists that we need game changers.
Yeah. So these, I'm sure the economy.
Change makers.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, not leaders.
The growth which we are seeing, and we are seeing our student at the forefront. You name a company, be it Google or be it Microsoft, let any company, global, our Indian students are leading them. And this is the education system. This is the education innovation, emphasis. And many universities, including Bennett, are paying a lot of attention to give an ecosystem where a student can innovate, where they can hash their ideas, and we fund them liberally. Thank you.
Dr. Ahuja, final comment from you. Since you are the only one in the panelist who is taking care of school education board also and at the university level also. So what are the contrary scenarios you witness?
No, one, I agree with them that good parenting is very important, because research says that by the time the child is about 12 years of age, he has listened to more than 1 lakh no's, 1 lakh negative statements. And it takes 4 positive statements to correct 1 negative statement. So you can imagine how much correction is needed in parenting. That is one. 2, I agree with Dr. Kulshresh when he says that a mentor is very important. And if I give you an example, Duryodhana from Mahabharata itself, Duryodhana and Arjun were to choose between a mentor, between Lord Krishna, and of course, the means, the military. Arjun chose, of course, the mentor, yes, and Duryodhana chose the means and the military. And the second important thing which I want to say is, if you want me to say a quote, what Arjuna and Krishna transpired in between. It's a very interesting quote which I often quote amongst the students also. When Arjuna chose Lord Krishna said, "Har nishchit hai teri, har nishchit hai teri, har dam rahega udas, makhan Duryodhan le gaya, छाछ बची मेरे पास." You know what Arjuna said in reply? Arjuna said, "जीत निश्चित है मेरी, दास नहीं हो सकता उदास, माखन लेकर क्या करूं जब माखन चोर है मेरे पास." When we have a mentor in our life, the game changer is the mentor. The second important thing which I want to highlight before the audience is that Arjuna was probably the greatest of the warriors of his times, who had not lost even a single battle, and probably he was the best student Dronacharya had. Now, have we ever thought why he failed in the biggest of his battles? He failed in the biggest of his battles because he was trained in military art by Dronacharya. But when it came to the biggest of his battles, he was nervous. Yes. He was anxious. He was depressed. He was about to commit suicide. Somebody mentioned about the rates of suicide. He was, like he says, "Brahmati mein mana mera mana brahmita." Now I can't do anything and I will not fight. But then Lord Krishna comes into the picture. He gives him the training of mental art. So that is the difference between the choosing the martial art, which we call as our curriculum in normal language, and mental art, which we are talking about emotional intelligence here.
Yeah, critical thinking and
so
innovation.
that is the difference. We need to learn mental art along with the military art, meaning thereby that IQ has to be combined with EQ and SQ to give student a holistic education. And of course, we can bring in leaders who are innovative, who, as you rightly pointed out, that they will be the change makers.
Yep.
And if we want change makers, we need to have, as Dr. Ashok said, critical thinking and innovation. I fully agree that decision making at crucial moments is very important. And that, of course, if we have people who are tough in the nerves, as Swami Vivekananda said, that the purpose of education is to bring out the latent potential, the latent powers within you. Everybody has latent powers. The purpose of education is to bring out those latent powers. And as Maharshi Arvind said, there is divinity in every child, and the purpose of education is to take out that divinity. As in the earlier panels, people discussed that divinity has to be, they said that we have to take care of the child, what are his interests, that is the divinity. And the teachers must look at the divinity and try to bring out that divinity in that child. That is the purpose of education. And I think that those two philosophers, they serve and they will continue to be the beacon of light for us in education. And if we work on those principles, I think Indian education system has a great future. And as Mr. Awasthi was putting it across, one thing I would like to mention here is that if we want a good education system, and Ashok sir will agree with me, of course he is a bureaucrat and he will not mind my saying that if we have to have a good education system in India, and especially the higher education system, it has to be freed from the clutches of bureaucracy. And I think you will excuse me if I say so, because all the universities are suffering because of the red tapeism. The Vice Chancellor, he is a founder Vice Chancellor. I was also a founder Vice Chancellor. The difficulties we face is that somebody else is to decide how many teachers we are going to have. Somebody else is to decide what kind of buildings are we going to have. So that freedom should be given to the universities. The autonomy of the universities must be maintained to solve all the problems which people were discussing here, like students going abroad, like students not staying in India. If we want to have a good ecosystem in higher education, we must give autonomy to the universities. That is my last remark.
Yes, yes, absolutely. With small changes, there will be a big shift. And I think by means of education, positive changes, we can achieve a lot in terms of fostering innovation, critical thinking. Thank you to all the esteemed panelists.
Can I add one thing?
Please, sir, please.
Taking cue from sir, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, the great leader, the great mentor, he tells to Arjuna, Yogaha karmashu kaushlam. That is, doing anything you undertake in excellent way is the highest form of yoga. And see our Indian Constitution, in fundamental duties under Article 51A, there are 11 fundamental duties. One of the duties says, it binds all of us, that all citizens of India shall excel in individual and collective endeavor so that the nation constantly rises in the comity of nations. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes, yes. By this valuable insights, I must say that Gita is really, really a way of life. This is how you should lead your life. Thank you everyone. Thank you audience as well. Thanks so much.
And thank you to our inspiring panel. And Mr. Vinay Saravagi, if I could have you on stage once again to do the honors in presenting our thought leaders here with the token of our appreciation and our gratitude for being here at the Education Survey in Conclave 2024. To our panelists, if you could please accept this token of our appreciation. So forums like this are, of course, an excellent opportunity to not only reconnect with colleagues, but to network and raise the standard of education for our country and abroad. And I think that's happening right here in this very room. Thank you. Thank you once again. And thank you, Prashant, for moderating the session. Excellent. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for that intriguing conversation and this special moment, which you're going to remember. Thank you. All right. Well, before we move on, I would like to take the opportunity to thank our partners. Times Now in Education Survey and Conclave 2024 is, of course, presented by OneXtel Communication Media. Associate sponsor Teamology, our research partner Tenfold, outdoor partner Heights, and our education partner, Bennett University. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if I could please call on stage Mr. M.G. Sajjad Rizvi, the visionary founder and chairman of OneXtel Communications Media Private Limited, a division of OneXtel Limited, to address our audience. With nearly 16 years of extensive experience in the media industry, Mr. Rizvi went on to establish his own strategic focused company. Today, OneXtel Limited stands as a trusted name with over a decade of success operating in major cities including Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Pune, Kolkata, and an international presence in Dubai. So with that, Mr. Rizvi, over to you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I believe we all had a very knowledgeable session today. At the outset, I would like to congratulate all the participants for their exceptional work in education field. My sincere gratitude goes to timesnow.in for giving us this incredible opportunity to part of this education summit. You know, one of the major concerns what we have realized for the parents, for the students, to get the right learning organization for the admissions point of view. Today, Times Now has taken this meaningful, initiative while hosting the Times Now School Survey, where, complete Delhi NCR regional-wise rankings are going to be announced, and recognizing the learning organization who all have done exceptional work in their field. Being the part of this initiative of Times Now, what we have realized that we are having an abundant services in education fraternity, but still those informations are not easily accessible once parents, seekers are looking. So we at OneXtel Communication, a strategy-focused company, would like to bridge this gap, would like to assess to the learning organization that how to place the information so that it could easily, efficiently, effectively reach to the seekers. Once again, I would like to congratulate all the participants for their contribution in this summit and wishing them all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rizvi, once again, and to the larger OneXtel team, of course. And ladies and gentlemen, we now come to highlight the felicitation around excellence in education. So that's right, tonight we honor remarkable schools and educators who have set new benchmarks in learning and innovation success. Each award represents a commitment to shaping young minds and preparing them for tomorrow's challenges. So to our awardees, your dedication and your vision, of course, inspire us all. And we'd like to celebrate these outstanding achievements as we applaud the pioneers of education. So if I could please call upon Mr. Vinay Saravagi, once again, please, sir, to help us do the honors. Dr. Markandeya Ahuja, Founder, Vice Chancellor, Baba Masnath University, Rohtak and Gurugram University, Gurugram, and Ashok Kumar, VC Sports University, Haryana, to please join us in doing the honors and presenting our next set of awards. Thank you once again, gentlemen. All right, it's what you've all been waiting for, and we will start with excellence in championing holistic education, which goes to Delhi World Public School, Noida Extension, Ms. Jyoti Arora, the principal. So Delhi World Public School, Noida Extension is a school that believes in unlocking a world of possibilities for its students, and it's voted as the best school in Noida Extension. The school prides itself in bringing and implementing the most innovative educational practices from across the globe in the past decade. Established in 2016, the school opened its second campus in Noida Extension in 2024, and DWPS has over 3,000 students and has produced district-level CBSE toppers for both Class 10 and 12 in the academic year 2023-24. Thank you once again. And we move on to our next award, which is Excellence in Education. And it goes to Beacon Education, Mrs. Kiran Sani, Chairperson. So, Beacon Education is an umbrella organization benefiting from the experience and wisdom of professionals in the education space. Receiving the award for Beacon Education is Mrs. Kiran Sani, and under the vision of Mrs. Sani, tens of thousands of students have received high quality and meaningful education at Mayur School, Noida, DWPS School, Noida Extension, DTC College, Greater Noida, and DME College, Noida. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we move on to our next award, which is Excellence in Infrastructure and Technology, and it goes to Grand Columbus International School, Ms. Rupam Sachdeva. So Grand Columbus International School has been transforming lives through education for over 40 years, combining academic excellence with holistic development. GCIS instills essential life skills in its students, and under the legacy of Mr. Suresh Chandar and the leadership of Mrs. Rupam Sachdeva, GCIS masters innovation. With state-of-the-art infrastructure and cutting-edge technology, GCIS nurtures independent thinkers for a brighter future. All right, we move on to our next award, which is Excellence in Educational Training 2024, and it goes to Tiju's Academy, Mr. Tiju Anthony and Ms. Deepthi Thomas. Let's warmly welcome the inspiring founders of Tiju's Academy, Mr. Tiju Anthony and Ms. Deepthi Thomas, whose passion and dedication have made the Academy a leading language institute in India. Can we have our winners on stage? All right, we will then move on to our next award meanwhile, which is Academic Excellence Award, which goes to Vidya Bal Bhavan Senior Secondary School, Mayur Vihar 3, Delhi, Dr. Nishant Sharma, the director. This award is given to Vidya Bal Bhavan Senior Secondary School for their commitment to maintaining high educational standards, fostering a culture of learning, and ensuring their students perform exceptionally well in exams and overall academic activities. Our heartfelt congratulations once again, sir, and we wish you all the continued success for what lies ahead. And with that, we move on to our next category, which is Excellence in Cutting Edge Learning Environment Award, and it goes to Ramjas International School, R.K. Puram. Ms. Richa Sharma, Principal, if she could please step forward to accept the award. And she is a visionary educational leader known for fostering an inclusive learning environment, inspiring students, staff, and parents, and promoting innovation with integrity and effective communication. Congratulations once again. And it's an honor for you to share this platform with us and accept this recognition. Great. Wonderful. Congratulations, our heartfelt congratulations. And we now move on to Excellence in Changemaker School, and it goes to Pragyan School. Mrs. Ruchika Sharma, Principal, and Mrs. Seema Sharma, Senior School Headmistress. Established in 2002, embracing the philosophy of experiential learning, the school orchestrates a symphony of educational excursions, bi-monthly outings, and exhilarating treks, fostering an immersive learning journey to diverse destinations. Notably, Pragyan stands as one of the institutions in Greater Noida that pioneers student treks, elevating the education. Wonderful. And we now move on to our next category, which is Excellence in Innovation in Education, and it goes to Stay Curious Neo School. Ram Prakash, Head of Learning, if you could please step forward to accept the award, sir. So the institution is, of course, an innovative virtual school designed to spark curiosity and develop real-world skills in students. And with a deep passion for transforming education, Ram has been at the forefront of reimagining learning experiences for children, building a fully project-based learning system to help children develop holistically and be future-ready. Next, we bring you Excellence in School Education, which goes to Bal Bhavan International School, Dwarka. Dr. Jaspreet Kaur, Principal. Kindly please step forward, ma'am. Bal Bhavan International School is an acclaimed futuristic school that is dedicated towards serving the society by providing a learning milieu that fosters holistic development of the child. The quintessential culture of the school resonates with the teaching of humanistic values, core life skills, and excellence in academics. A huge round of applause, please. Our heartfelt congratulations. And our next award is Excellence in Holistic Development, which goes to Pragyanam School in Sector 65, Gurugram. Amita Bhardwaj. Keep the round of applause coming, ladies and gentlemen. Pragyan School in Sector 65, Gurugram offers a progressive K-12 experience rooted in life skills and holistic development. Founded by IIT IIM alumni, the school follows the WHO's 10 essential life skills framework, fostering personal growth, resilience, and joy. And with a 15:1 student-teacher ratio, Pragyanam provides a nurturing environment where students explore their potential and build practical competencies. We move on to Excellence in Mentoring and Consulting, which goes to Aurea Soul Private Limited, Ocean Soul Private, Orient Soul Private Limited, Miss Anuja Bashir, founder of Aurea FlexiCloud, a serial entrepreneur and the founder of Aurea FlexiCloud, and Poker CFO. She mentors startups across more than 40 plus incubators in India and has been featured on prestigious platforms like Forbes, Entrepreneur, and Fortune India for her pioneering work. A huge round of applause once again, ma'am. Lovely. And our next award is Outstanding Contribution to Dental Awareness, and it goes to Dr. Franco Babu, a highly respected prosthodontist and aesthetic doctor, founder of DFARC, Kerala's pioneering clinic integrating dental, facial aesthetics, and hair restoration. An educator at heart, Dr. Franco shares valuable insights through his Instagram. The handle, of course, is at Dr. Frank Park, reaching over 1.7 lakh followers and 3.5 crore impressions, breaking myths and bridging the gap between doctors and patients. All right, congratulations once again, sir. Moving on to our next award, Emerging Preschool goes to Dinis International Preschool, Greater Noida, Uttar Pradesh. If we could have Dr. Barkha Sharma and Ms. Shimani Sharma please come on stage to accept the award. We are delighted to present the Best Emerging Play School Award to Dinis International Preschool, a visionary institution set to open its doors in April 2025. The award recognizes the school's innovative curriculum to early childhood education, and we are confident that it will emerge as a beacon of early learning, setting a strong foundation for many successful futures. Congratulations once again. And we now move on to our next category, which is Excellence in Placement, and it goes to the Greater Noida Institute of Technology Engineering Institute. If we could please have Dr. Dheeraj Gupta, the director, come on stage to accept the award. Now, this is an institute that transforms individuals to professionals, and it has been formed by Shri Ram Educational Trust in 2001. Noida on a non-profit basis with a firm determination and commitment to foster a holistic approach towards the development of engineering and management education. The trust has had a meteoric rise and on date has established a chain of educational institutions covering the fields of engineering and management, leading towards graduate and postgraduate degrees, 4,000 plus students, 3,000 plus placement partners with 18,500 plus strong alumni base. With that, Excellence in Education and Impact goes to GIPS Dr. Savita Mohan. Established in 2020, the GNIOT Institute of Professional Studies, GIPS, is a key member of the prestigious GNIOT group founded by Chairman Dr. Rajesh Gupta in 2001. GIPS has quickly earned a reputation for excellence in professional education, boasting a distinguished faculty, state-of-the-art facilities, and a commitment to producing skilled, industry-ready graduates. In just a few years, GIPS is set to become a hub for multidisciplinary excellence, driving impactful education, research, and innovation in the NCR region. Our next award, which is all around excellence, goes to Greater Noida World School. And Mr. Manju Paul Rana, Principal, if she could please come on stage to accept the award. Discover a world of holistic education and excellence at Greater Noida World School, where they nurture young minds to thrive in academics, sports, and creativity. Our heartiest congratulations once again, ma'am, and we thank you for being here and for accepting this honor. All right. Next, we move on to excellence in holistic wellness education, which goes to Satva Nation. If we can have Preeti Singh Mundra please come on stage to accept the honor. Honoring her, the founder of Satva Nation, a festival of holistic wellness. A visionary in holistic wellness education, she has pioneered initiatives that inspire emotional, spiritual, physical, environmental, and holistic wellness across India. Let's celebrate her invaluable contributions to holistic wellness education. Next, we move on to excellence in academic leadership, which goes to Dipti Taneja, and her dedication and expertise in education have left a lasting impact. Currently serving as the Joint Dean of Cultural Council and convener of ECA admissions at the University of Delhi since February 2002, Professor Taneja is also professor in the Department of Economics at Delhi College of Arts and Commerce with over 17 years of commitment to academia, specializing in development and public economics. All right, with that, our next category, ladies and gentlemen, is excellence in fostering community-centric education, which goes to Genesis Global School. Ms. Sanamdeep Chadda, please come on stage to accept the award. She's an education reformist and director, a noted education reformist and director of Genesis Global School Noida. Under her leadership, over the past 1.5 decades, Genesis Global School stands tall as the leading institution for K-12 education. And her vision has elevated CGS to a model of holistic excellence, balancing strong academics with extensive sports and co-curricular programs, and securing its consistent ranking as the #1 international day-come residential school in the region. Next, we move on to outstanding contribution in Indian education, and it goes to Mr. Prashant Kirat. His journey started with the dream of delivering free and low-cost education to each and every part of India, and today, as we stand, he's fulfilling his dream by providing free and low-cost education to over 1 crore students through his various year-round channels and YouTube channels, and he is the most loved teacher. All right, congratulations once again, sir. And we move on to our next category, which is excellence in hospitality and hotel management, and it goes to Wealth Maxima College of Advanced Studies Managing Director Mohammad Shah Suleiman and Chairman Dr. Sadiq Jamuddin. And it's an honor to present this award to Wealth Maxima College of Advanced Studies, led by for their education in skill-based education and global impact. And their innovative approach and commitment to quality have set new standards in education. So please join us in applauding their achievements. Congratulations once again, gentlemen. It's a very prestigious honor, and we applaud you for all of your efforts and contributions. And with that, we move on to our next category, which is excellence in home tuition, and it goes to Naveen Tutors, Mr. Ratna Kumar Jha. If you could please come on stage to accept the award. Ladies and gentlemen, we're pleased to announce Naveen Tutors, a paragon of excellence in home tutoring with over 20 years of dedicated service. Naveen Tutors has built an outstanding legacy through expert teaching and remarkable results, and the distinguished agency has been instrumental in shaping countless futures, becoming synonymous with academic success. By empowering students to achieve their full potential, Naveen Tutors continues to set the standard for educational excellence. So join us in celebrating their commitment to nurturing and guiding young minds towards brighter futures. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, that wraps the awards, but I'd like to invite Vinay Saravagi to the dais to please offer a closing note. All right, well, with that, I'll take over. Thank you all for being a part of this incredible evening. And as we wrap the TimesNow.in Education Summit and Awards 2024, we're reminded of the transformative power of education in shaping the future. So congratulations once again to all of our award winners. And if I could now hand it over to Mr. Saravagi to take it over from there.
Thank you everyone for being part of this incredible evening. As we wrap the TimesNow.in Education Summit and Awards 2024, we are reminded of the transformative power of education in shaping our future. Congratulations to all the award winners once again. I would like to leave you with a thought tonight. Many developed nations are taking steps to restrict or ban social media for children under 16. It's time for India to start a deeper, more meaningful dialogue on this topic. With our youth increasingly engaging with social media, concerns about its impact on mental health, education, and social skills are growing. A ban on social media for children under 16 could protect their developmental years, helping them focus on their mental well-being, academics, and real-world relationships. Let's continue pushing boundaries, inspiring change, and shaping a brighter, healthier future for the next generation. With this, I would like to invite you all for dinner and cocktails with us. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Vinay, and to the entire team. If I could take the opportunities to thank our partners. TimesNow.in Education Survey and Conclave 2024 is presented by OneX Telecommunication Media, our associate sponsor Teamology, research partner Tenfold, outdoor partner Heights, and our education partner Bennett University. And as we close this memorable evening, we celebrate the dedication, vision, and excellence displayed by every educator, institution, and student recognized tonight. Together, we're redefining the future of education in India by setting benchmarks for generations to come. So let's celebrate our achievements tonight and keep pushing the boundaries of fostering innovation. Thank you for joining us on this journey and have an excellent evening. Thank you.